San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. We are the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. What a game last night. What a win last night for the San Diego Padres. Xander Bogaerts delivers in the 12th inning to defeat the Rockies. It was a walk-off grand slam. How about that for some theatrics, huh?
The Xander Bogaerts show before being the Xander Bogaerts show was cool.
That was awesome. Nobody supports Xander Bogaerts more than these two right here. Nobody was more excited. That being said, I did send a text to my buddies last night. He came up, right, with, what was it, 1 out? They intentionally walked. Fernando dropped down the sack bunt, which he did on his own, which was cool, to get Jake over to third with 1 out. And then they intentionally walk Merrill and intentionally walk Machado. So there's 2 out, or there's a 1 out in the 12th inning tie ball game. And I immediately text my friends, oh my God, the phone calls I'm going to get tomorrow if he grounds into a double play.
That was
my immediate thought was, oh my God, the YouTube chat and the people calling in are going to be so upset when he hits into a double play.
I thought we were going to get it about Manning at the 10th when he had the bases loaded in 1 out, or runners on the corners at least in 1 out.
No, we get mostly there's certain players that people just cannot wait to say I told you so on, and people don't like Xander Bogaerts because of his contract. A lot of fans didn't. I mean, that's just been the case. So that's why we have defended Xander for so long. I like watching Xander Bogaerts play. I mean, is he the Xander Bogaerts that he was in Boston? No, he's not. But he's still a player that's going to contribute to your team each and every day in some capacity. And he's, I think, a good veteran leader presence in this clubhouse. But when he stepped up to the plate, I'm like, oh man, just hit a sac fly, please. Let's just make sure that we don't have to. I don't want to have to wear this. But you know what? He didn't just hit a sac fly. He hits a grand slam. Did you hear all of the home run calls?
I heard. I was watching it live on Padres TV. I heard the Rockies home run call. I actually didn't hear Jesse's yet, which is very bad on my part.
The Rockies one from our boy that came on with us yesterday. The setup was just so perfect. He literally got. See if you could track down the call. I mean, the calls are great. I'm sure we have Jesse saved on there.
Oh yeah.
So, and did you hear Eduardo Ortega's?
No, I did not.
All right. So, see if you could find those on Twitter real quick. We'll play them here in this first segment.
One thing I do have up on Twitter really quick. This is from Optistat that Scraby actually reposted from last night. Since pitches were first tracked in 1988, the Padres are the only team to score 4 runs in an inning despite seeing fewer than 4 pitches.
Wow.
How about that for a stat?
That's pretty impressive. Now,
they saw 3 pitches in that 12th inning.
You know what's unfortunate about the game yesterday I don't think any Padres fans are going to cry about it, but the pitcher gets charged with 3 earned runs. He should really only get charged with 1 earned run, to be honest with you. He had the guy on second base, right? That guy's unearned already. So Jake Cronenworth's run is unearned. And then the manager calls for an intentional walk twice. It's not like he didn't have a chance to get those guys out. He gives up a grand slam. He gives up 4 runs, and 3 of them he didn't even pitch to. That's the best part. Out of the 4 runs that he gave up that get charged to him, 3 of them are earned, but he didn't pitch to all three batters that are on base. All three of them went to first base or were starting on the bag without a pitch getting thrown. That's a rough, I gave up 4 runs on your stats. But anyway, last night, Xander Bogaerts delivered with the grand slam. And the overall takeaway of last night's game for me was this is a win that could really propel this team into a nice winning streak. These are some of the big moments that you see early on in seasons that end up being special. Now, it doesn't guarantee that that's going to happen. There's a lot of bad teams that have moments like this throughout the year. But if the Padres can capitalize on last night's walk-off grand slam by Xander Bogaerts, they could get on a little bit of a run here and start racking up some wins, especially against the Rockies team, who, as Tony Gwynn Jr. said yesterday on Gwynn and Chris, I don't care what the record is, you're better than the Rockies. The Padres are better than the Rockies. Now, that being said, there was a lot of problems last night as well. You look at the box score of last night, and you see the overall batting averages for this team. They are putrid. They are so bad. The averages are not great. Now, I think you had more atom balls last night. I can't sit here on the radio and say for the next, 2 to 3 weeks, they're hitting the ball hard. I mean, eventually they're going to have to get some luck going on their way with some of these swings. It's amazing to me the luck that they have gotten on poorly hit balls compared to the luck that they have not gotten on balls that have been absolute seeds hit by this team. We'll go through the expected batting averages of this Padres lineup because they're a lot higher than what the actual averages are. I mean, you could talk about a lot of different players on this team at the beginning of the year. Remember, we all said Ramon Laureano's your best hitter. Look at he's raking. He's got to be higher in the order. Ramon Laureano's now hitting 239 with a 684 OPS. I mean, there's not one player on this team that has a good average, and a good OPS. They might have one or the other, but there's not a lot that have both. Miguel Andujar is like the only guy that has both, but he is a spot start guy. He is a bench piece. He's hitting 300 with a 797 OPS. Now, you look at some of the other averages for you in OPSs. Cronenworth, 174 average, 530 OPS. He did get a hit last night in the leadoff spot. That's good. And speaking of leadoff guys, Padres to lead games off are 0 for 13 now. It's an unfortunate stat. That might not mean anything, but I think it's significant to a sense of they haven't gotten a single leadoff guy to start a game on base. No walks, no hits, none of that. 0 for 13 with 4 strikeouts. Fernando Tatis Jr. got a knock yesterday. He's got an RBI. He hit the RBI he drove in yesterday on the line drive to left. That was a sacrifice fly, ultimately. He hit that on the screws. He actually squared that ball up. He hit it, unfortunately, right at somebody. So hopefully that starts to lead to something better. He's finally over the 200 mark. He's hitting 204 with a 558 OPS. Jackson Merrill's now hitting 184 with a 606 OPS. Manny Machado's hitting 211. His OPS at least is decent at 734. Bogaerts hitting 241. He's got your highest batting average on the team out of an everyday starter right now. It's Xander. And hitting 241 is nothing to write home about. 670 OPS for Bogaerts. Sheets hitting 231, 609 OPS. Okay, not great. Nick Castellanos is down to hitting 214 with a 588 OPS. Padres got ripped off a handful of times on hard hit balls right at people. Ty France now hitting under 100 with a 258 OPS. Freddie Fermin's hitting a $185 with a 500 OPS. That, by the way, that's impressive. I don't know how you're able to do that. Camposano got a big knock yesterday. It's good to see his average above 267 with a 734 OPS. That's with the last couple of doubles. But they're finding ways to win despite the fact that everybody on the team is slumping hard right now. I think that's a big takeaway from yesterday's game. I mean, the Padres were able to put up 7 runs, albeit 4 of them on one swing, with guys hitting like they're hitting right now. And this team is not going to hit like this all season. So the fact that the Padres are probably hitting the worst they will hit all season collectively, I think it's hard to say that they're not doing that. I mean, everybody on this team, if they were to continue at this pace, would be career worst years of their lives. Career worst years ever. These guys are going to continue to do that. I think the at-bats have been pretty good. It's actually head-scratching to not understand why they haven't been able to swing and why they haven't been able to get the results. I think they're slowly starting to get some of these results, but they scored 7 runs last night and haven't been able to hit any of these. Haven't been able to hit anything in terms of results. They were unable to take advantage of opportunities yesterday, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, they get the W. That's all that really matters at this point. So they're 7-6 now. They get a 7-3 win over the Rockies. There's a lot to break down in this game, but some of the home run calls last night were awesome. Do we have those now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start with the one that everybody heard watching on television with Don Orsillo on the call.
It's back! Slam Diego to walk it off! Bogey goes boom! Into a sea of San Diegans! Padres win at 12! In fantastic fashion for the faithful!
That was great. I like how Don used all of his home run calls on a one. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, here's what it sounded like on the radio, 97 through the Fan with Jesse Agler.
Bogaerts swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. That'll get it done. All the way over the wall. A grand slam to win it. He didn't need it all, but he got it all. And Xander Bogaerts over the fence, his second home run of the season, a walk-off grand slam, and the Padres do it the fun way in the bottom of the 12th inning. 7-3 the final score.
Love it. Another great one. More calmer, but got it done. Grand slam. They do it the fun way. I agree with Jesse. That's the fun way. You know what? It's fun to win a game 7-3. It helps your run differential. They only needed one of those runs to win the game, but you know what? Might as well pad your stats a little bit. Get Xander Bogaerts some extra RBIs that everybody was bitching, moaning, and complaining about a couple of years ago that he didn't, have 100 RBIs or whatever like that. How unclutch he is with guys on base. I saw so many tweets about that before he hit the grand slam. I hope people are in their mentions. Here's what it sounded like on Spanish radio with Eduardo Ortega.
Un sencillo lanzamiento del Cachanilla. Palo, el final del juego. ¿Y de qué manera? ¡Se va! ¡Se va! ¡Sí, sí, sí! ¡Es un gran slam! Wow. ¡Bogey, bogey! ¡Ra, ra, ra! ¡Se acabó el juego! ¡Swing de 4 grandes carreras! En el cierre de la entrada 12. ¡Salami time! ¡Bogey, bogey! ¡Ra, ra, ra! ¡Que viva Aruba! Ganan los Padres 7-3. En la entrada 12 dejan en el terreno a Colorado. La cuarta vez que los Padres anotan viniendo de atrás. Ha sido la definitiva con el gran slam de Xander Bogaerts. Aquí la noche de pelota ha terminado. 7-3 con un gran slam walk-off.
The salami time kills me every time. It's great. Eduardo Ortega is one of the best Spanish broadcasters ever. I'm pretty sure he does like multiple, I think he does the World Series for the national Spanish broadcast. I mean, that was a phenomenal call by Eduardo Ortega. It was so fun to listen to. Now, that was all the Padre calls. What about the people watching in Denver? Here's what it sounded like on Denver's TV broadcast.
Beozo, if I may, is the crafty righty.
Yes.
Everything's below the speed limit. But he does get some rollover ground balls. Trying to get one here. Not going to happen. In fact, this is going to be a walk-off grand slam. It took 12 innings. It was back and forth. San Diego wins it on a Xander Bogaerts walk-off grand slam, 7-3, and the Rockies' 4-game winning streak ends late at night on a Thursday in San Diego. As the Padres move to 7-6, the Rockies 6-7.
The not going to happen kills me every time. Not going to happen. Oh, man. Not going to happen is great. I'm going to start sending that in text messages. Hey, you want to go out this weekend? I'm going to send a picture of Xander Bogaerts after he made contact with the ball in the Grand Slam. And then they're going to be like, what does that mean? Not going to happen. Think about the Rockies broadcast. Not going to happen. The memes you can create from that are phenomenal. And the only people that will ever understand it are Rockies fans who might have turned it off as soon as Xander Bogaerts hit the ball, or Padres fans. Not going to happen. So funny. What an exciting game to get the season really started. I mean, it's great to see them back at home, getting a victory. I thought last night, Frank, because we have a couple of minutes, I thought last night's game was a typical missed opportunities. It's going to be a painful L that you're going to have to look back to, 3 months from now. That's what it was setting up to be. And the Padres battled the whole time. They answered every time the Rockies scored in extra innings. And you know what? They continued the grit that they showed on the road here at Petco Park.
Yes, it was a gritty performance. Now, you also have to take into account that they had several chances to win that game that the Rockies gifted them. The sixth inning, for one, where you have runners on second and third and one out and don't score in the sixth. You had that opportunity in the eighth inning that you don't push across. So there were...
The eighth inning with the multiple errors to get Manny Machado on base and to second base?
That was the sixth. That was the eighth inning was the double steal. Or was that, or am I?
I remember that being like super late in the game, but it could have been the sixth.
I scored the game last night because I was like, hey, I'm not doing anything. 3 hours and 45 minutes later, I'm beating my head against the wall for my decision making. It was the sixth inning. The sixth inning was the double steal. And then you had in the eighth inning, you had runners on second and third and two out. You get a strikeout, a bad strikeout from Xander. I mean, it was a game that you could have won. It could have not gone to that moment.
The eighth inning is when you got Fernando to second. He got picked off.
Yes, that was it. And then Manny comes up and gets the hit like 2 pitches later that could have given you the lead. So that was, you're right on that.
The sixth inning were the multiple errors by the Rockies that were basically gifting you a run that you couldn't take advantage of. In the eighth inning, you got Fernando working a walk to lead off the inning, which was great. And then Merrill hit the fly ball that got Fernando to second base, which, by the way, he had to do a Superman slide to avoid because the throw beat him to second.
Yeah, it did.
And then he got picked off at second base, which you just cannot have that happen because you know what happened the next at bat, right?
Yeah, it was
Manny got a knock.
By Manny.
They would have scored Fernando, and you would have gone to the ninth inning with Mason Miller, and you would have closed the game out, and you would have won. And you wouldn't have to go to extra innings.
They did get a little bit lucky on that double play call in the 10th. I was surprised that they overturned that and called that defensive interference. Honestly,
I'm not. He made contact and he slid way too short. You can't. They put that rule in for safety reasons. Like that, you can't do that anymore. So I'm not surprised about that at all. As soon as it happened, I'm like, oh, they're gonna get a double play.
I had the feeling that was gonna happen, but it was one of those where it's like he didn't go out of his way to make contact. He absolutely did.
Yeah, but he didn't get out of the way. He needs to slide or avoid, and the only way he gets the pass is if he slides into the base, into the base, and he's nowhere near the base, right? If you just decide to slide wherever you're at and then you pop up, it's you're still in the way of the throw. I think Xander did a great job diving into him to make that happen.
Oh yeah,
that was
he had to sell it a little bit. Sure.
That was like the pump fake three. Let me jump into the guy as he comes back down. But I'm not. I kind of figured that was going to be ruled a double play. I'm surprised about a couple of the at bats. The walk that Fernando actually ended up working. He had 2 pitches that he could have challenged.
That was the 10th inning, right? Because that first one, it was 3-0.
Yeah, the
and then
single he hit, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the single. He had two They had two challenges. It was either that up out of the walk. He had multiple. He looks like a guy that's just never going to challenge.
Because he definitely could have challenged that 3-0 pitch, and went 3-2 after that. That was inside. And that umpire had a bad night last night too.
He wasn't very good. If you look at his scorecard, he got like 90% right, which seems like, but for umpires, that's usually not a good day.
No.
But we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll break down more about Randy Vasquez. We'll talk about the struggles with Jeremiah Estrada. We'll talk about the offense and where things are at right now. They're hitting the ball hard. They're just not getting rewarded for it. We'll talk about the expected batting averages and why we think this thing's going to turn around. But exciting game last night. Hopefully propel into multiple wins here over the weekend. We'll discuss as we continue and start the Braden Surprenant Show, Setting Zimmerman Sports Station 97 through the Fan. UCSD baseball is proving they're not just a hot team. They might be the team to beat in the Big West. They take 2 or 3 from Hawaii, improve the 10-2 in conference, and they're doing it in different ways. A 10-9 comeback win, then an 8-0 shutout. That shows you the balance that this team has, and that's what contenders look like. But here's the question: can they sustain it? Because they're still leaving runners on base, and consistency on the mound hasn't always been there. Now they've got UC Santa Barbara coming up, and that's the test. If they win that series, this isn't just a good start. UCSD might be for real in the Big West. Another strong week for the Tritons, taking 2 or 3 from the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors baseball team and continuing to hold first place in the Big West at 10-2, something that they're going to try to do the rest of the year as they finish and continue Big West Conference play. But if you look at where we're at with UCSD baseball, Thursday night was chaos, and in a good way. Tritons rallied from a 4-run deficit to win 10-9, pounding out 16 hits and 7 doubles, tying a Division I program record, their Division I program record. Mm-hmm. It was a full lineup effort, 5 players with multi-hit games, and another example of how explosive this offense can be.
Yeah, Friday night, though, was a reset, a 6-3 loss, just 4 hits, and the lowest strikeout total of the season on the mound. That game showed the flip side of what the offense looks like when it cools off and things got tougher. Saturday responded the way a first-place team should. An 8-0 shutout victory, their first shutout win of the season, powered by 3 home runs and dominant pitching that held Hawaii to just 4 hits. So you saw the good, the bad, and then the fantastic over the course of this weekend for UC San Diego.
But the big story, this team is starting to show something important. It's starting to show balance. Earlier this season, UCSD was winning with offense alone. Now they can win slugfest, as they did 10-9 on Thursday. They can win clean, dominant games, 8-0 on Saturday, and they're learning how to respond after losses. That's the evolution of a real contender. And the key takeaways from this week of UCSD baseball: offense continues to produce at a high level. Power numbers are climbing. Camacho now double-digit home runs on the season. Pitching just delivered its first shutout of the year, but they're still leaving a lot of runners on base. That last part matters. 16 runners left on base Thursday alone. Again, against better teams, that can come back to bite you.
Yeah, absolutely. And still came out with a win in that game, but 16 runners left on base. That is a lot. Something we talk a lot about with the team downtown, leaving runners on base. Softball, though, mixed bag for Triton softball this weekend. They bounced back to take a game in the series against UC Riverside, and then won the rubber match, showing offensive life with back-to-back 12-run games, progress, but overall, they're still trying to climb out of an early conference hole and try to find that consistency. So split the first day of a doubleheader, and then came back on Saturday to take the series win. So solid enough weekend for Triton softball.
What's next? Well, now comes a big road test for the baseball team. A weekend series at UCSB against the Gauchos is never an easy task, and that's one of the better programs in the conference. It's a real measuring stick for a team currently sitting on top, and a real measuring stick to see if UCSD can in fact win this conference for the second time since being promoted to Division I. They already won it once as a newly formed D1 team. They weren't able to play in the NCAA tournament, of course, because of their transitioning phase where they're not allowed to compete in postseason play for 4 seasons. But they're in a really good spot to potentially play in the first NCAA tournament at the D1 level if they can continue this pace atop of the standings in the Big West. Now, the Big West is in their second year of a tournament. So UC Irvine will be hosting the Big West tournament at the end of the season. The winner of the tournament will make the NCAA tournament, not the winner of the regular season, which they have done for so many different years. So now in year 2 of the Big West tournament. So very big weekend series for the Tritons this weekend at the Gauchos. But the discussion topic is UCSD built to stay in first place, or are they riding a hot stretch? Right now, they absolutely look like a top 10 or top team in the Big West. But what separates good from great is consistency. Can the pitching show up every weekend? Can they clean up situational hitting and stranded runners? Because the offense is good enough to carry them far. If the pitching continues to develop, like we saw Saturday, this team isn't just a nice story. They're a legitimate threat to win the Big West Conference. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. There is so much to break down from last night's game. We're going to try to do our best to get to as much of it as humanly possible. But a lot of great things out of yesterday, a lot of bad things out of yesterday. We already talked about the negative in terms of the offense. And again, we're going to go over their expected batting averages in a second. They're hitting the ball hard. Unfortunately, they're not getting rewarded for it. But I know fans are not going to want to hear me say that for the next 2 weeks. So they eventually got to start getting some results here. And I think the results are going to come. I think the process is fine. I mean, Frank, how many times playing baseball or maybe softball, whatever it may be, you hit a ball in the screws right at somebody and somebody tells you, don't change a thing. I feel like a lot of these guys are getting the don't change a thing attitude. I just like the fact that they're really sticking with that approach at the plate and not really changing too much, which is good to see, because I think they're eventually going to start getting some results on this. Now, here's the other thing. A couple of deals with the pitchers, the pitching situation from yesterday. What a great job by David Morgan yesterday. David Morgan was excellent. David Morgan, and I had so many people yesterday texting me because Estrada comes in, and we're going to go over Estrada's numbers in a second, probably in the next segment. You look at Estrada and what he has done in terms of like his velos being down. Now, at the same time, did you see that tweet last night? Did you send me that? Maybe somebody else did. Did you see the post by Dennis Lin yesterday about Jeremiah Estrada?
Oh, yes.
They asked him about it.
Yes, I sent it to you.
His grandmother's worried about him. She says he's getting too skinny. Let me get the exact tweet because I thought it was great. Dennis Lin,
and that was a quote retweet of his velocity dip.
Correct. Now, Craig Stammen last night in the postgame talked about, well, we kind of took it easy on Estrada in spring training because he worked a lot of innings last year. So, and he also said, and maybe this is an excuse, or maybe it's, Craig defending his guys, but Craig Stammen said when he was a player, and he said, all I can speak on is when I was a player, I usually had lower velo in the beginning couple of months because you kind of build it up during the season. So he had all of we're not really concerned about his velocity being down. But Dennis Lin reported yesterday that Jeremiah Estrada threw one fastball below 95 miles an hour all of last season, including appearances in the Cactus League. He's thrown 52 sub-95-mile-an-hour fastballs this year. Dennis Lin followed that up with, after asking Jeremiah Estrada about that, Estrada said his grandmother thinks he looks too skinny and is bringing him tamales tomorrow. He also acknowledged he's been studying his mechanics. It's not hard to know this is a worry. It's kind of a bit of a shock to me as well. So they're obviously working on some things with Estrada. He obviously knows he's not touching the same velocity as he used to. We're going to get into those numbers in just a little bit. But the question that I kept getting last night was, why haven't they gone to David Morgan? Why hasn't David Morgan pitched a lot more this season? Why have they given him so many times off? Why do they continue to go with Wandy Peralta or Jeremiah Estrada instead of a guy like David Morgan? Now, David Morgan this year has had some issues with walks. But last night in 1 2/3 innings, he was lights out. No hits allowed, no runs, did not allow any runner to score, had the one strikeout. He is continuing to show that he needs more opportunities, I think, in high leverage. But I really think that they're just kind of easing David Morgan into that particular role. I feel like the way that they've been using David Morgan, I don't think they want to necessarily feed him to the wolves yet. I think they want to continue to let him get confidence a little bit. Because he's 26 years old. I mean, he's still a relatively young player. We talked about David Morgan's story on the show, during spring training about how he struggled at the beginning and they moved him to the bullpen and they kind of worked with him a little bit. And he had an electric year in Double-A. And then last year he got pulled up. Did a great job. I think there's still something to be said about that. And this is where, I don't think you can make knee-jerk reactions in terms of your personnel all the time. The first year of Jackson Merrill, the kid was raking his rookie year, right? I mean, he was on a tear. And where was he hitting most of the season? Middle to bottom of the order.
Like 6 or
right?
7 most
because
of
he was having success down there. Let the kid have success. And then it's just a different animal hitting at the top of the order. And then all of a sudden you're going to see more people, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to hit because they have to worry about, being at the top of the order. They worry about you a little bit more than they do at the bottom of the order. I think the same thing could be said about using some of these relievers. You don't want to just throw him to the wolves because he has had success already. You have to ease him into that situation. I think last night they really had no choice. They had to use him in extra innings after Estrada had been used in the game. And I think he had a great opportunity to show that he deserves more opportunities in more high leverage situations. But I don't think it's a time to rush him to the back end of the bullpen because Estrada has not been doing very well. Now, that being said, Jason Adams should be on the return relatively soon. We'll get you an update on him later on in the show. Jeremiah Estrada does have options left. He's got one option left. So you could, instead of having to drop Kyle Hart down, who has been, I think he's been solid as a long relief guy. Instead of sending him down, instead of cutting Ron Marinaccio, which I don't think Marinaccio has pitched poor enough to be considered not on the team, instead of having to eat money with parting ways with Wandy Peralta, which they're not going to do, maybe it's Estrada that goes down for a little bit when you bring back Jason Adam. Or maybe he goes on the injured list, right? I mean, who knows where we're at with Jeremiah Estrada. It's an interesting conversation. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the metrics and some of the areas of concern about Jeremiah Estrada. We will continue to break down last night's win for the Padres. Big win. It was a grand slam walk-off in the 12th inning by Xander Bogaerts. We'll talk about the offense as well later on. Lots to get to. We'll get to your phone calls. Braden Surprenant Show, sending us on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. San Diego State Baseball just made a statement, and they're officially in first place in the Mountain West Conference. They didn't just win the series. They swept Air Force, and they did it in every possible way. Game 1, dominant pitching. 14 strikeouts for the pitching staff of the Aztecs on Friday night. Game 2, 15 hits and a total offensive control. And Game 3, they were down 7-2, and they came back with 8 runs to win the contest. Not luck. That's a team figuring itself out, because a week ago, this team looked inconsistent. And right now, they're showing that they can win with power. They're showing that they can win with pitching, and they're showing that they can win situational baseball. So the question is is this real? Because if this is the version of San Diego State baseball, and if this version of San Diego State baseball sticks, they're not just competing in the Mountain West. They might be the team to beat in the Mountain West, and maybe a team that gets their name called on Selection Monday. This was a statement week for San Diego State baseball. Well, softball continues to trend as one of the more frustrating but dangerous teams, and lacrosse ran into a very tough matchup. But the headline this week for Aztec Sports, baseball is now in first place in the Mountain West.
Yeah, San Diego State just swept their series against the Air Force Falcons. As it sits, they're right now 18-15, 7-2 in the conference, which puts them in first place. And they did it in three very different ways. They had a 9-2 win in game one with back-to-back bombs from Tice Peterson and Jake Jackson, 14 strikeouts from the pitching staff in total, a very dominant, very complete performance. Game two, they had an 11-2 win where they bombarded Air Force with 15 hits and a balanced offense, power and small ball working together, their most complete offensive showing of the season. And then in game three on Sunday, a 12-9 win. They had trailed at one point by 7-2, as you had mentioned, scored 8 runs over 2 innings, and showed a lot of resilience and firepower. So 3 games, 3 very different ways to win, but at the end of the day, they were all wins.
And here's the difference now. Last week, they were, surviving chaos.
Mm-hmm.
This week, they're starting to control game. Pitching has stabilized. Offense is deep 1 through 9, and they can win with power or situational hitting. This looks like a legit conference contender now. And if they're able to win the conference, they're able to hear their name announced on Selection Monday and potentially have, there's a good chance that San Diego, the city of San Diego, could potentially have multiple teams in the NCAA tournament, because as we get to the USD update, they had a really good bounce back weekend, as well as UCSD continues to do damage also in the Big West. So baseball, big step for the Aztecs, now in first place in the Mountain West Conference. Now on to softball. Same story, different week. Another roller coaster for San Diego State softball versus Utah State. They lost game 1, 4-3. Late lead blown in the final frames. They won 9-1 in their second game with a run rule domination, and in game 3 they lost 5-4. Late comeback falls short. They're now 20-17 on the season, 5-7 in the Mountain West. Very tough to see for Aztec softball, who is projected to have such a great year this year.
Yeah, and it really is unfortunate, especially when you count that you could have had a sweep in this series, blowing that lead late in the first game of the series, not great, and then fighting back on the in the series finale, coming up a little bit short. You still have an over 500 record, but right now you're 2 games under in the conference, not going to help you out all that much.
We usually just focus on baseball and softball, but lacrosse was in the news this week. They unfortunately had a tough loss as San Diego State lacrosse falls 18-8 to UC Davis in the Aggies women's lacrosse program. Tatum Neach had 4 goals. Lila Turley had 3. They're now 2-10 and 0-2 in the Big 12 with a huge test coming. They got the number 7th ranked Florida Gators women's lacrosse team. It's always fun talking about some of the niche sports and the conferences they're in. San Diego State is in the same conference as Florida, and they're in the Big 12 in women's lacrosse. Isn't that fun? I mean,
it's fantastic.
You know what? I've been an advocate for the Aztecs joining the Big 12. The fact is, they're in the Big 12. I don't know why I'm complaining. They're in the Big 12. They just don't have any other Big 12 schools in the Big 12, and you got schools like Florida and the SEC in that same conference. So tough loss for the women's lacrosse team. That's a D1 sport over at San Diego State. But that's what's fun about some of the niche sports, Frank. You get to see them participate in a lot of different conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had a San Diego State alum win the PGA tournament this week.
That's right. Add that. JJ Spawn. Add that to the Aztec update. Another Aztec. You know what? We don't talk about golf a lot on this show when it comes to the, especially the college level. San Diego State's got some pretty good pro golfers right now on the PGA Tour. So congratulations to JJ Spawn. But a big weekend for baseball. Softball still battling back and forth. JJ Spawn wins the Valero Open or something like that down in Texas.
That's crazy.
So it's a pretty good week for the Aztecs nonetheless on our Aztecs Weekly Update. 10:39 on a Friday. Now, let me ask you, let's a lot of people in the YouTube chat, Frank, are excited about Aztec Sports. You guys got to subscribe to our YouTube page because we put that content out every single week about the Aztecs.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the same thing about the Tritons and the Toreros. We're putting that content out all the time, once a week. We got sports updates on San Diego State, UCSD, USD. They come out on Wednesdays. And the best way to be able to view the content is by subscribing to the YouTube page, youtube.com/@B_SURP. We had that disgruntled guy call in. Remember, he's like, why are you talking about the Aztecs? He was so upset. He's like, you should be talking about the other colleges. We do.
Yes.
It's on YouTube. We talk mostly Padres baseball. I think during the season, it's going to be a lot of Padres, but you want the extra content? You can't find a lot of content on these schools. You can't find a lot of content on high school sports. You can't find a lot of content on the San Diego Gulls, on any of these local teams. Go to YouTube. youtube.com/@B_SURP. Hit the subscribe button. Now, if you want that stuff showing up every Monday, because we got it all every Monday, that's for members. Become a member, you get to see it Monday. You don't become a member, you just subscribe, that's fine. It's free to subscribe. You have to pay to be a member. It's free to subscribe. If you subscribe for free, you will see all the local colleges' content come out on Wednesdays. Which, by the way, significant news that just went down. John Rothstein reporting that the UCSB Gauchos are going to be joining the West Coast Conference.
There you go.
UC Santa Barbara finalizing agreement to join the WCC for the 2027-2028 season. The Gauchos are the third edition for the WCC in the past 7 months, joining UCSD and Denver. League will have 12 teams in 2027-2028. Tick-tock, UC Irvine. Tick-tock, my fellow anteaters. I'm not an anteater. But anyway, West Coast Conference already has the University of San Diego and UCSD. And now it just added the Gauchos of UCSB. And it's a pretty decent college basketball league. It's a pretty good baseball league, too. West Coast Conference making things happen. Love it. Anyway, 833-288-973, 833-288-973. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the YouTube page. As I mentioned before, we got tons of extra content on there. We air some of the stuff during commercial breaks on YouTube. Fantastic. But if you miss it, you can go watch it on our YouTube page. Subscribe so you get it immediately. Up-to-date news.
Somebody just asked in the chat, Smash the Numbers was in here very, very loud and very, very boisterous yesterday about Michigan's hockey team in the Frozen Four. Well, they lost last night.
And so we don't
to the aforementioned Denver University. They and somebody asked who they're going to be playing in the Frozen Four final. They will be playing Wisconsin. So it'll be Denver versus Wisconsin in the Frozen Four final.
There you go. You could be watching that. Let me know how it goes on Monday.
Sure, we'll do.
Denver's mascot is Denver Boone. Is their official mascot. Our cartoonish, buckskin-clad mountain man embodying the spirit of the Rocky Mountains.
There you go.
There you go. It was designed by a Walt Disney artist. Take that for what it's worth. By the way, I'm mad at the mouse again.
Oh, what did the mouse
The mouse
do
changed the
this time?
TCU Arizona game to a Friday night. I hate the mouse. I mean, why? Every time we got to play an Arizona school, it's got to be on a Friday night. Now, I have a bye week for Cathedral football, which is great. So now I get to, it doesn't affect me that much, but I'd rather go to a college Saturday game than a college Friday night game.
Boone's got nothing for Gus the Foothiller, says Frank Watkins.
That's the Grossmont Foothiller. They used to have Grossmont High School. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. Grossmont High School. Shout out to all my Grossmont alumni out there in the universe. When my dad played football at Grossmont, they had a Foothiller as their logo on the side of the mascot. It was like a Davy Crockett looking guy. He had the raccoon skin cap. He had he was like he looked like a linebacker trying to tackle somebody. That was the logo on the side of the helmet. Phenomenal. Anthony Lawrence I'm going to need you to find that logo, and I'm going to need you to get a sticker of it, and I'm going to need you to slap it on the helmet every once in a while for a throwback game, because that is way better than the G. I'm going to say it right now. The Foothiller helmet that they had back in the 80s, back in 1980, definitely 1983, 1984, those helmets, phenomenal. They got the stripes, the 3 stripes down the middle like the Green Bay Packers, and on the side of the helmet is the Foothiller. Get rid of the Green Bay Packer G. It's not even your G anyway. It's a Georgia G. It's a Grambling State G. It's a Green Bay Packer G. Get rid of the G. Bring back the Foothiller. I don't even think you can find it on the internet. Go back in the yearbooks. Go find it. Get the Foothiller back on the side of the helmet. You're welcome. Where's Joe Musgrove at? Make a call to Anthony Lawrence. Let's make this happen. For all the Grossmont people out there, that's what you need from a football standpoint. Okay. Are we done with this? We're ready to move back on to what's it called? For the Padres. Denver University. Where is their nickname? I was trying to figure out what their nickname was for their school. I don't know what they're called. I had it on. Oh, here it is. The Pioneers. They're the Denver Pioneers, Frank. There you go.
That is information I now know. Thank you.
No, save it. You know, like when you're a computer, once you spell check, add to dictionary, to dictionary.
I'll just leave it as a save get. Yep.
Yeah, I'll find you that Hiller logo. Please find me that Foothiller logo and get it on the helmet at Grossmont High School. I want to see that in the fall. Go Hillers. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Jeremiah Estrada for a second. We'll start with the velocity trends. Okay, Jeremiah Estrada has had elite numbers for his fastball from his four-seamer, which is the red line. 96.8 miles an hour approximately in 2022. In 2023, it dipped down to 95.5. In 2024, it peaked at 97.3. Nice. 2025, career high, 97.8 miles an hour. And then this year, it's down to 95.2, which is a noticeable drop and also the lowest out of the 5 years that we are showing you on YouTube. He's still sitting around 95 plus into 2026, but the downward tick is real and worth watching now early in the season. In terms of his slider, huge velocity jump in 2024 that made it a weapon. From 2022 to 2023, Jeremiah Estrada had a fringe velocity on his slider, 83 miles an hour. It jumped up to 90 miles an hour in 2024, and then 2025 back down to 88.5, 2026, 86 miles an hour, losing some zip on the slider too. That 2024 velo spike is what turned that slider from an average pitch to definitely a nasty pitch that Jeremiah has. It's still above average, but trending back toward where he started. You can see the split finger, which is the teal one on there. That's continuing to drop. He's losing 4 to 5 miles an hour over 4 seasons in a row. And this is the pitch that's, aging the fastest. This is the, what does he call it again? Can I even say it on the radio? It's a changeup and a splitter put together. CHITTER. There you go. But bottom line on the velocity, his stuff peaked in 2024 and 2025, and early 2026 shows his first clear signs of decline across his 3 main pitches. I mean, all 3 pitches are down in terms of velocity. I don't think it's necessarily dead arm territory yet, but the trend line is pointing down, which is not good. Let's get to the hard hit percentage for Jeremiah Estrada, Frank, for the YouTube people out there. Now, when we look at the hard hit percentage, his four-seam fastball, 50%, his fastball was hit at 50%, hard hit 50% in 2022, jumped to 69% in 2023, plummeted to 40% in 2024, and then went up again at 45% and then 58% so far this year. 2023 was a bad year for Jeremiah Estrada in terms of his fastball getting hit hard. 2024 was excellent. 2026 sliding back toward the bad side of things. His slider, if you look at his slider numbers, and they're all over the place. That's the yellow line if you're watching on YouTube. That thing jumps in 2023 and then plummets all the way down. That 100% in 2023 is almost certainly a very tiny sample size. But it tells you everything went wrong that year for Jeremiah Estrada. We've talked about that with his velo and now with the hard hit percentage. Huge improvement. The slider's been really good for Jeremiah at this point in time. It looks fantastic on the few balls that have been put in play. People aren't able to hit Jeremiah's slider very well. His split finger only shows up meaningfully from 2024 onward, as you could tell from the graph. And again, very small sample size, but off to a good start with his split finger. In terms of the barrel percentage, that's the last graph we're going to look at here. When you look at the barrel percentage, barrels on the fastball are climbing sharply this year. And that's not what you want to see when the velo is also dropping. So not only is the velocity dropping, but the hard hit percentage is jumping increasingly. So teams are just tagging Jeremiah's fastball. His slider still looks pretty elite, as they're not being able to barrel it as much on the barrel percentage. Again, with the split finger, 2024, they hit it a little bit more. So far, really small sample size. But the fastball, they're just tagging. 2023 on this year was kind of the outlier disaster year across the board. 2024 was the cleanest year of his career. 2025 was okay. And 2026 is splitting sliders back to shutting down barrels. But the four-seam fastball is getting absolutely crushed for the first time relatively in his career. Now, his fastball is still sitting at 95 plus, but the velo is trending down for the first time in his career, and hitters are barreling it at a career at 20% rate in 2026. That's a massive red flag for Jeremiah Estrada. The slider is the success story still. He turned into a 90-mile-an-hour monster in 2024, and it's still limiting contact and barrels beautifully this year. The splitter's quietly dying, though. It's losing a little bit of its velocity every season. If that pitch keeps fading, he's basically a two-pitch guy, and it's fastball slider. The fastball is getting hammered. The slider is still elite, but you can't just throw sliders all day. It's going to destroy your elbow. So you can knock out, like 2023 was a disastrous year for Jeremiah Estrada. It got better in 2024 and 2025, but Estrada still has really good velocity, but the contact quality metrics are flashing very big warning signs for him in 2026, especially on his primary pitch. And the slider looks like it's carrying him right now. And if the fastball keeps getting squared up at this rate, losing a couple of ticks, his effectiveness could definitely drop very fast. So for me, Frank, as you look at these numbers, it's very glaring to see Estrada's fastball go down, but also he's getting barreled on the fastball. That's not something you can have in late innings. And I don't know how you fix this. Again, it's still early on, but it's something to monitor right now with Jeremiah. And I don't know if him looking skinny is all the reason for it. It's something definitely to monitor for the Padres. But I don't know how you potentially add the velo back to this. Again, Craig Stammen yesterday in the postgame said, it's early in the season and he never threw the ball hard early in the season. It comes with building up throughout the year. We'll see if that's true, but these are not great signs for Jeremiah Estrada.
No, and another thing, it's not a great sign for Jeremiah is he threw 24 pitches last night. Half of them were strikes, half of them were balls. So that's not a great look for him either. He had 2 walks, 1 strikeout, an inning an inning in a third, allowing both of his ghost runners to score. That is not great, and he did not look good doing it. Like, it was not a couple of dink and dunk hits. No, he was getting hit.
He was getting hammered.
Yeah, and the fastball, the dip in velocity of his fastball. Remember, if you go back to when he first came up with the team after getting picked from Chicago, was his ability to throw 98, 99 and be able to tickle 100 every now and again. That was a big part of why he struck out so many guys when he did. Now that he's losing that speed, it's becoming just an average, slow fastball that's not moving. Guys are able to see it. Guys are able to pick up on it. Guys are able to knock it around. That is a big, big disadvantage for him and a big reason as to why he's struggling. Also, not being able to throw strikes, not helping him either.
Yeah, that's the other problem. That's not. I mean, he's leaking stuff over the heart of the plate. It's going to get tagged. I think changeup splitter that he throws. The fact that that's turning not into that great of a pitch anymore because it's losing its oomph with the velocity, I think is very interesting because he then turns into a 2-pitch pitcher and it's mostly sliders that are getting people out. That's another kind of reason for concern if you're Jeremiah Estrada. When we come back, we'll take a look at the offense a little bit. 11 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show. We had to move things around with our guest today, and joining us on the SDCCU fan hotline, it's not Big Bank Banking. It's better is Drake Hills. Going to give us an update on San Diego FC real quick, and then we will go back into our Padres conversation, talking about Randy Vasquez, talking about the Padres bullpen, talking about the offense, talking about a lot of stuff that's been happening in Padre land. A lot to break down from last night's game. But we take a quick little break as we get into the MLS, talk about San Diego FC a little bit. Tough loss last in their game back from the international break. Joining us now on the SDCCU fan hotline is Drake Hills. He's a contributing writer for Black Players for Change and for ESPN.com. Drake, what's going on? Long time no talk.
I know. We had a little nice international break just in time for opening day in Major League Baseball, so that was nice, at least from a optics perspective, getting able to go to a game or two. And saw San Diego FC, a couple of players playing for their national teams, Anibal Godoy for Panama. Obviously, you had Anders Dreyer going over there to Denmark, and it was just in time. But it looks like some of those woes and some of the red cards that we've been seeing over the last few weeks, Braden, they've continued even on the back end after this international break. So interesting, man. I think maybe San Diego FC needs to walk off like the Padres had last night. I don't know, but they need to get jump started because they're in a slump, probably the worst slump that we've seen in their very brief history.
Before we talk about San Diego FC, we do have the World Cup this year. Obviously, the World Cup's here in North America, playing all over Canada, the United States, and in Mexico. We finally have the list of countries that are playing in the World Cup because the final qualifications have been completed. I get a bit weird look from Frank. Obviously, can't bring up the wound for us Italians to watch the Italy not playing the World Cup again. But tell us what happened in the World Cup qualifiers. Who are the countries that have now punched their ticket? As Frank's so upset. And what some of these pools look like now that we finally have it solidified.
Yeah, I think the two biggest upsets, and I hate to kind of drive the knife back and into the back here, but obviously the Italians kind of continuing their woes. Bosnia and Herzegovina gets into Group B with Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland. Obviously Switzerland, they will be based here in San Diego. So San Diego fans should, if they're up in the Del Mar, Torrey Pines area, that's where Switzerland will be. They'll be at the San Diego Jewish Academy, and they're in a nice hotel. I think it's the Grandview, a nice golf course over there. And then obviously, in my opinion, just as shocking, the DR Congo beats out Jamaica to get into Group K with Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. So I think, listen, the expansion of the World Cup has given a plethora of teams a second chance. We have Uzbekistan, as I just mentioned, DR Congo. We've got Jordan in Group J with Argentina. We've got Iraq with France and Senegal and Norway. That's going to be a rough group. Cape Verde in Group H with Spain and Uruguay and Saudi Arabia. I think there's a plethora of storylines geopolitically. Iran, are they going to play at the World Cup? Are they not going to play at the World Cup? If they will play at the World Cup, will they still play in the U.S., in which they are scheduled to play New Zealand, another San Diego-based team at SoFi, I believe, or are they going to be moved to Mexico and be based in the Mexico City camp for group stage? Tunisia, playing at the World Cup. You've got Curaçao representing that Dutch Caribbean in Group E. So there's just incredible geopolitical, sociological storylines, human interests, all that good stuff, Braden. It's going to be weird, but I think it's going to be cool as well. A whole lot of soccer to watch starting June 11th.
June 11th, it will be Mexico and South Africa. It will be Korea Republic and Czechia will be playing on Thursday, June 11th, to get the World Cup group stage started. Let's go back to soccer here in the United States in the MLS. For San Diego FC, Drake, they had a rough kind of schedule of having to play twice a week, multiple times a week. They had to fly internationally down to Mexico a couple of times. It was a lot of games in a short amount of time. And you knew they needed a reset. Well, they got the reset, and a lot of the problems still continued for San Diego FC. They ended up losing 3-0 in their last game. But let me ask you this about, and we'll break down the different avenues. Overarching the first question is, did they not utilize the reset? They had too many guys playing internationally. Are you surprised by the way that they came out playing after having the time off?
Yeah, very surprised. I think the biggest thing is the goals, right? I mean, we're talking about a team that was the best goal differential, had the best offense, obviously creating an immense amount of scoring opportunities on the front end. Then on the back end, if you look at the start of their season, not just in MLS play, but obviously in the Champions Cup, going up against Pumas, you conceded 2 goals over the first 2 legs of the Cup. We talked about earlier in terms of MLS really getting a soft start, looking at Montreal, St. Louis, Kansas City, those first few games in MLS play, obviously not the most threatening of opponents, but you rack up, I think it was 8 goals in the first 3 games, and you get 3 consecutive clean sheets. I mean, that's almost unheard of, in at least in recent history. And I think there's something that has to be said about, I don't know if it's the truncated start. Obviously, some guys not the healthiest, still getting a chance to bring in some of your new players. Lewis Morgan, I think, has been a nice addition. Marcus Ingvartsen getting back healthy again. I think maybe Patty McNair moving on back to Hull City, that center back pairing, not having that cohesion. I think maybe it's the cohesion nature, because if we look at pretty much from mid-March onward, they've not only struggled to score, apart from their first game against Toluca, but they're letting in a lot of goals. Toluca, first round, or at least first leg, you got 2 goals you concede. You go to Dallas, 3 goals they concede. Obviously, you go down to Toluca, you get mollywopped 4-0, and then you draw and kind of give up a lead against Real Salt Lake, a very young Real Salt Lake, and then you go up to the Bay Area and you get smashed by San Jose, 3-0. So I think not only that, but it's this red card situation. The record for MLS is 5 games consecutively with conceding a red card, and obviously in MLS it's a little bit different. They've got Champions Cup and MLS games, but if you look at total competitions, you've got, out of the last 5 games, you've conceded a red card in 4 of them. So there's something going on, but we're looking at a really tough stretch and probably the most adversity San Diego FC has faced in their recent experience.
Let's talk about the back line for San Diego FC. It's a very young back line for them. They've made a lot of mistakes early on, and it's been kind of like the lack of discipline, which is surprising for a Mikey Varas squad. But, I mean, the red cards need to stop, Drake. I mean, I don't know how many more times you could go playing with, 9 guys on the field and be successful doing that.
Yeah, and I know not to split hairs, but I get it. Like Chris McVeigh gets a second yellow, so that turns into a red card. But it's still the same message, and I think we're in agreement on that they have to stop. I mean, Chris McVeigh, he is one of the veterans for this young team, and specifically, as you said, a young back line. And so what I'm thinking, it's got to be, maybe it's a distraction. Maybe the Champions Cup was a distraction. Obviously, the playing style in the game, and then of course just logistically the schedule. Maybe that's something, because these guys are experienced pros, and maybe a lot of them, they didn't come in as MLS veterans, and there are a lot of them on this team. Anibal Godoy being one of them, albeit he hasn't had the best health to start this season. But if you really look at this team, yes, you do have some youth, especially in the back line. And some new guys, right? You got Oswald So. I mean, he's on the younger side, just 20 years old, from Denmark. But at the same time, you have a Jeppe Teverskov, you have an Oni Valakari, you have Lewis Morgan, as I mentioned. But I don't know what it is. Maybe it is the lack of cohesion, trying to get some of those younger guys into full MLS effect. but it's not going to get any easier. You know, you've got Seattle's back in it. You've got Dallas that's made an incredible stride into being competitive this year. You've got San Jose, which I think is the biggest surprise in the Western Conference. And not to mention LAFC and Vancouver are still who they are. So it's still a tough Western Conference, and it's going to be tough. If they let this thing slide, they might be out of playoff picture.
What do they have to do, Drake, tomorrow against Minnesota at Snapdragon Stadium to get back on the winning side? What are some of the things that you think are easily fixable?
I think ultimately it is getting back to the fundamental basics of being able to play out of the back. And what I mean by that is obviously Duran Ferree. I think he's young. But he's got some experience under his belt now to start this season with obviously the injuries to CJ Dos Santos and Pablo Cisniega. With Duran going in there, start to get your feet a little more grounded, being able to play out of the back, possession, controlling the pace of the game. There's no doubt that the midfield of San Diego Sea is the best in terms of I think their biggest threat, and being able to connect with Anders Dreyer up front. They got to get back to the basics, control the pace, and I think that will be able to settle down this young back line and be able to get some wins back in the win column.
And we'll see if they could do that tomorrow. Drake, we appreciate the time as always. Have fun at the DMV, buddy.
Yeah, that's torture. That's probably worse than my Oregon Ducks not being able to make the tournament this year. But hey, I've got an appointment, so hopefully I'll get a win from San Diego FC tomorrow to kind of give me a present for my patience.
That and the Padres win would be great. Godspeed, brother. Have a good time at the DMV. Try to get through there as quickly as possible. We appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
Drake Hills joining us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Poor Drake. I said at the DMV on a Friday. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
that's rough.
Great.
It's never great.
Not great.
Although when I got my real ID, it didn't really take me that long. I had an appointment over here in Claremont. It was like 25 minutes. I had all my stuff dialed in, though. It was like, let's go.
It's better than what I had for my registration.
What was that about? Aside from the fact that it probably cost you a limb to register your vehicle.
Yeah, no, it was like 170.
Wow, that's kind of the cheaper side.
Something like that. That's 12 years old at this point. But yeah, I went to the non-appointment line down in San Ysidro, and that was that was out the door. So I'm like, yeah, no, forget this. And even the appointment line on the day that I went took like 45 minutes. And the conversation that was had at the door,
oh man,
or at the gate, that took forever because they were misunderstood what I wanted. So it was ridiculous.
Augie's making fun of your car. Let's get to Marcus and Menifee. He's been waiting on hold. Marcus, what's going on, brother?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well.
Happy
Good
Friday.
Padres win last night, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Team Vasquez, Team Bogey. Bogey.
That's right. What do you got for us today?
Well, a couple things. One for each of you guys. Yesterday, Braden, did you have flats or drums?
With the wings, definitely some flats. I had some boneless strips too with the epic Padres roundtable presented by Epic Wings.
Nice. And Frank, get AAA. It'll be in and out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
It's like $80.
Come on.
It's like $80 a year. Worth it, Frank.
Appreciate the phone call, Marcus. Oh no,
we have one more.
What else you got?
One more thing. Would you guys consider? Now, of course, you got to run this by the station. Would you guys consider going to the zoo for On Location?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd go anywhere.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, the zoo's great. The zoo is great, Marcus. We appreciate that. If you have more details on that, shoot Frank a DM or myself. 833-288-973. 833-288-973.
Who wouldn't like a day at the zoo?
I love the zoo.
It's fantastic.
The zoo is great. The zoo is an adult as money. My parents have zoo passes. They'll do like on a Wednesday. They'll just go to the zoo, have a beer, walk around, watch the animals, go there for you know what the zoo is also great for? Just for like walking around. If you get a zoo pass, you can just go walk
I just had
It's a great place to walk.
I just had the worst idea. Could you imagine doing one of the shows from the gondolas and we're just going over the same, just
are you
going
out of your
back and
mind?
forth? That's why I said I just had the worst idea.
How would you? Okay,
I know
guess,
it'll never happen.
Well, I guess
you
you could put the plum case on there, our little internet machine. Where are you getting the power from?
I know. That's why I said I know it'll never happen.
Yeah, let's put a gas generator in there and
awful
kill
idea.
ourselves on the fumes. How did that pop into your head?
I don't know, because I'm special. That's why.
Let's do a show on the gondola, he says. Let's not speak that into existence. You know what I'm not going to sign up for? Is that. Are you out of your mind?
Yes, I am.
I'd probably jump out of that thing. Frank's got the rest of the show. You know why that would be terrible also? You get distracted by the same orangutan that you flew over every single time we did it.
No. It's the raccoons with me. You got to worry about.
Do they have raccoons at the zoo?
I hope
you have the
I
wild
don't
ones.
remember.
That's a foul.
I know it. I'll take that foul.
He draws the foul.
Oh, look, there's we've seen it, Frank. We have gone over that thing 15 times already. And we're still in hour number 1.
No, but you didn't see what it did just now.
How long is the
I don't
gondola
know.
back and forth? Like
it is
one trip. Like if you never got off of it, how long do you think that is? Like
it's honestly
a couple of minutes?
I haven't been there in so long. I don't know.
A couple of minutes, maybe? Could you imagine how many trips we would do in just an hour?
Augie said it's like 3 minutes.
I'm not saying from one end to the other. I mean like there and back.
Frank Watkins show from the gondola does sound like peak content though.
No. I'm putting my foot down on that.
There are some things that Braden won't even do for content.
I'm not doing that for content. Absolutely not. I contemplated having a White Castle cheeseburger out of a vending machine. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Luke in Mission Valley on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Luke?
Hey, guys. I just was calling because this Mason Miller thing is incredible. I mean, you remember last year, the few years, they show Tony on MLB Network every time he bats. That's how Mason Miller should be right now. Every time he pitches, it is must-see TV. It's pretty rare you get a pitcher on your team, especially, that is appointment television when this guy comes out. And it's just electric, and I'm loving it, and I can't wait to watch him pitch again. It's like I'd rather see him pitch than many hit. It's just unbelievable how good this guy is, and I'm so pumped about it, and looking forward to the rest of the season. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Luke. We haven't even talked about Mason. There's so much to break down.
He was disgusting last night.
It's disgusting. We'll talk about Mason a little bit. We have updates on other pitchers coming back as well. We'll get to that also when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Xander Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The NBA playoffs are 2 weeks away, and this might be the most wide-open postseason we have seen in years. You've got the Oklahoma City Thunder trying to go back-to-back behind SGA, but here come the San Antonio Spurs, 27-3 since February, led by Victor Wembanyama. That's a collision course in the West. Meanwhile, in the East, the Detroit Pistons are the number 1 seed. Yeah, the Pistons, and they're doing it even without Cade Cunningham right now. But don't get comfortable, because teams like the Charlotte Hornets could come out of the play-in and wreck everything. And, oh, yeah, Steph Curry's back. So that 10-seed Golden State Warriors team, that's not a normal 10-seed, and that's a problem for a lot of teams in the NBA. This year, it's not about who's the best team. It's about matchups. It's about health, and it's about who gets hot at the right time. The NBA playoffs aren't just coming. They're about to be chaos. Let's take a look at our weekly update on the NBA. The big picture is the playoffs are here. We are 2 weeks away from the postseason. The NBA regular season is wrapping up. Seeding races are still very alive in both conferences. And this isn't just about who's in. It's about who's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the Eastern Conference. The Detroit Pistons are locked in as the number 1 seed, doing it even without Cade Cunningham, who's on the injured list with a collapsed lung. Don't think you can play through that one. That's not load management. Boston Celtics.
You can if you're tough. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Just rub some dirt in it. Boston Celtics are likely the number 2.
Just fill it up with air. What's so hard about that?
God.
We're kidding.
What an image. Celtics are likely the number 2 seed. The New York Knicks are taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 3rd spot. The Atlanta Hawks quietly surging. They've won 18 of their last 20. Teams in the mix right now, the Charlotte Hornets are sneaky dangerous. LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller are healthy, playing confident, chaotic offense. Could absolutely ruin someone's season if given the chance to. It's not a top-heavy league anymore, top-heavy conference anymore. It's very volatile from top to bottom now.
Let's go to the Big Bag Western Conference. It's a battle of heavyweights out there on the western side of the United States. Oklahoma City chasing back-to-back titles, led by MVP favorite in Gilgeous-Alexander. San Antonio Spurs right behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're powered by Victor Wembanyama. Spurs are 27-3 since February. I mean, they have been on an absolute tear. But the real story is the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets are all fighting for seeding. Injuries are looming. Luka Doncic has been out. He's going to be out. Austin Reeves is out, going to be out during this stretch. The West is less about matchups and more about who survives physically. And that's before we get to the play-in drama. Golden State Warriors sitting at number 10 in the standings, but Steph Curry is back, and that changes everything. If Curry is healthy, Warriors become very scary to deal with in the playoffs. But if not, it could be a quick exit for the Golden State Warriors in this year's postseason.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you look at when it comes to, you pretty much know what teams are going to be in the playoffs at this point. Between 10 and 11, there's a very wide gap in both the East and West Conference. So you know who's in it. You're just fighting for seeding right now. And that's what makes Golden State so darn dangerous, is that they are that 10 seed and they just got their megastar back. So they're going to be going against the toughest opponents they could possibly go up against, but they are going to have their superstar. It's not just an one and done. They're not there because of the way they played with Steph Curry. They're there because of the way they played without it.
When you look at some of the awards and the storylines, I mean, a lot of these are almost wrapped up. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander might be the MVP already as a lock. Defensive Player of the Year, Victor Wembanyama, Rookie of the Year. Con Nepal is leading the way as a Rookie of the Year candidate. 65-game rule impacting a lot of stars like Nikola Jokic and Kawhi Leonard. But when you look at the top two teams in the Western Conference, they got the top two players in the National Basketball Association. So no surprise that SGA leading the MVP field and Victor Wembanyama leading the Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, and SGA, with what he's done, it's been very, very quiet, because while guys like LeBron and Steph Curry are still garnering the face of the sport, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has put together a couple of very, very good seasons, a couple of back-to-back NBA MVP seasons with an NBA Finals win on there. And he's not getting a lot of love as a future face of this sport. So he's flying very much under the radar doing all of this in Oklahoma City. And it's great for him, great to see him getting these awards.
And I think this is the most wide open NBA playoff field we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, for the last handful of years, it's been like, okay, it's going to be the Warriors and Cavs, or hey, it's wherever LeBron's at, or hey, this team is just definitely more dominant, Boston Celtics, or whatever you want to go down the list of some dominant teams that have dominated the NBA. This year,
well, he does get some rollover ground balls, trying to get one here. Not going to happen. In fact, this is going to be a walk-off grand slam.
oh man,
Not going to happen, bud.
not going to happen. It's unfortunate we had him on the day yesterday.
Yeah, that's the timing. Just
That is one of the best calls I've ever heard. Play the beginning part again. I have to listen to it again.
Well, he does get some rollover ground balls, trying to get one here. Not going to happen.
That part needs to be a
In fact,
drop.
this is going to be a walk-off grand slam.
The not going to happen. Live show from the gondola, not going to happen. That needs to be a new drop. I think the not going to happen is loud enough where we can make it a drop. That is hilarious. It is so funny. And it's not making fun of him. I've had calls like that for USD where something on the other team happens, where like they hit a home run. It's just like, yeah, it's gone. That's it. That'll just be my call. The 2-2, it's out of here. Dallas Baptist takes a 6-1 lead on USD in the sixth. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Dexter in Spring Valley. Dexter, how's your Friday going?
It's going well. Actually, I wanted to make 3 quick points. Point number 1. Hey, Frank, is that guy a relative of yours?
No.
They're not going to happen, guy?
No.
Number 2, isn't it amazing how things change in a year from all the doomers hating Bogaerts to now everybody's, hailing him as like a hero because of what's been happening early part of the season? It's just amazing. Last year we were trying to run him out on a rail. Now we're like kind of going, he's one of the best guys on the team.
That's called being a windsock, Dexter.
Yeah, exactly. And then the third one is regarding yesterday. I really appreciated how you broke everything down with regards to, what's currently quote unquote ailing Fernando. And I really appreciated how you broke it down into English because, if you would have started throwing stats like, all of these multi-lettered stats, my brain would have exploded. So I appreciated how you broke it down. But at the end of that segment, I couldn't help but wonder, it sounded like you were comparing him to Pedro Serrano. So I was wondering, like when Fernando, doesn't do so well, like last night, he goes into the dugout and disappears down the hall. I can't help but to think that he's not, it's not because he's antisocial. He's going down to scream and yell at Jobu. I protect you, Jobu. I trust you, Jobu. And you didn't give me the home run, Jobu. So I'm thinking, if you're going to compare him to Pedro Serrano, maybe we ought to be, making Jobu references too. So there you go.
I appreciate the phone call, Dexter. Dexter's always relating something to movies. I don't know if I did. I don't remember really comparing him to Pedro Serrano, but I think Fernando's thing is all timing and mechanics. All timing and mechanics. I thought he squared that ball up last night on the fly ball to left. Line drive. It's a sack fly. It should be a sack line, is what it should be.
To left, by the way.
Hey, pulled it in the air. How about that? Didn't we talk about that all day yesterday?
Yeah, we
hasn't pulled the ball in the air to the left side. Well, he pulled the ball in the air. He drove it a run. Funny how that works. I think that's a sign for good things coming for Fernando. I really do. I mean, he got a hit yesterday. He was 1 for 3. He drove in a run. But
where did the hit go, by the way?
Left side.
Duck snored into right field.
Is that the opposite field hits all day?
He's working on going to left field finally. Where did he get the one hit? Right field, shallow right.
Yeah, well, you know what? Spraying the field. Can't be mad at him spraying the field. But I think, with Fernando, the fact that he hit that ball in the screws is a sign of good things. So hopefully that happens again tonight. I'm curious to see what the lineup is tonight also. It would be nice to have the leadoff man be on base to start the game. We have yet to see that in 13 games. All right. We didn't talk about this earlier this week, but there was a report from Kevin Acee about Joe Musgrove. Now, here's the Joe Musgrove update. The reality is this is not really a normal rehab for Joe Musgrove, and he's not that close to returning. He's still only playing catch, hasn't done any mound work yet, and the best case scenario for Joe Musgrove right now is May, which requires multiple bullpens, multiple rehab starts, and this is like a reset of everything that he had done already this season. But the biggest red flag here is, kind of the confidence and the feel, not necessarily the structure of the elbow. The MRI shows that the elbow graft is intact, according to this report from Kevin Acee. The real issue, though, for Joe Musgrove is he has pain on breaking balls. He therefore has a lack of confidence in throwing said breaking balls and inconsistent recovery between throwing days, which obviously is a major problem if you're going to pitch every 5 days. So when you look at his health status, his body is like the elbow is structurally fine. There's no additional structural damage. There's no structural failure. It is a feel and execution thing. And at the major league level, if you can't trust your secondary pitches, it's hard to pitch. I think you just look at Walker Buehler, who's starting tonight, right? What did Walker Buehler say in spring training, Frank?
He said one day it woke up and it stopped hurting out of nowhere.
Yeah, he said after his first outing, he said 4 days ago is the first time that I had not felt pain in my elbow. That was 2 years after the surgery.
And he had no idea what he did.
Yeah, it just finally went away. It's a long injury for a lot of guys. Everything's structurally sound. Everything's back, fixed, ready to go. But it's the pain tolerance. It's the feel, right? And so if you cannot throw breaking balls because it hurts to throw, and you don't know what your recovery is going to be like after every outing, it's kind of hard to be part of the starting rotation. Because you could have a couple of starts where you're ready in 5 days, and you could have a couple of starts where you cannot throw in 5 days. And that's obviously an up and down thing that cannot build consistency when you're a guy coming back from an injury. Now, Joe Musgrove is making a deliberate decision not to rush back. He doesn't want a short-term return followed by another shutdown, which I think is good for Joe. I also think it's good for the team, Frank. To rush him back and have him be back and forth, I don't think that's fair to the team. I think Joe knows that. I think he's making a decision that's good for him, but also great for the club.
But he's ready to go for the postseason last year, though. That's what fans kept saying.
Well, he wanted to be ready to give you an inning.
I know, but fans wanted him to pitch. The fans were excited about that. They were all in on it. Yeah, throw Joe. Why not?
Yeah,
it was never folks. It was never, ever, ever going to happen.
I think
that was wishful thinking on every level.
I didn't remember like a ton of fans being super stoked about that. I think some of them thought the nostalgia. Well, we were like, he's not going to do that. No matter, and you would have to protect him from himself. I mean, Craig Stammen said in his post game yesterday about Mason Miller, because they asked him about like he's been so great, right? I mean, he has been historically amazing, Mason Miller, and Ben Higgins asked it on the roundtable about like he's like one of the best players in all of baseball, and you only get to use him for an inning. You know, shouldn't you try to use him more, right? And then they even asked Craig Stammen, that's like he's like, are you ever thinking about using him more? I mean, he's just such a legit weapon. He was like, yeah, sometimes when he sits there and goes like, I got another one, but you know, as a former pitcher, there's a lot of times where I like saying I got another one, regardless if I have another inning in me or not. You know, these pitchers are going to be like that. They're going to want to go out there and they want the ball. You want guys like that, but sometimes you have to protect them from themselves.
The point of me saying that was it was always going to be a long road ahead. And for anyone to think otherwise just was not paying attention and hasn't been paying attention to guys who are coming back from Tommy John surgery. This was always, more or less, always going to be the result, is it was going to be a slow return. You cannot, when he does come back, you cannot expect him to be the Joe Musgrove that he was before. It's going to take time for him to get back to that spot. So I applaud him for taking the time that he is taking now in order to make sure he gets right. And he might have to deal with a little bit of arm discomfort on certain pitches if he feels as though it's okay, and if that discomfort can't hurt him anymore, can't aggravate the injury anymore. But Joe is doing everything correctly, not just for the team, but for himself throughout this entire process so far.
This is definitely a big big decision for Joe Musgrove, but I also think it's the right decision. So there is a pitch in particular that's given him the most pain, and it doesn't surprise me that it is. And we'll talk about that when we come back, because he was throwing that at a record pace in 2021. And he has seen it plummet a little bit, and it was a good pitch. But I remember in 2021 saying, or way back whenever it was, maybe he's throwing this pitch a little bit too much. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. One of the best stories in San Diego high school sports right now, Carlsbad softball. Last season, they went 8-15. This year, they're 11-0 and one of the top teams in the entire section. So what changed? It starts with the pitcher, and Sophia Tillis, who's 10-0 with a 0.54 ERA and nearly 100 strikeouts already. But here's the real difference. The players say it themselves. Last year, they didn't have chemistry. This year, they trust each other, and it shows. They're scoring over 8 runs per game, dominating opponents, and already beat defending champion Mater Dei Catholic. So here's the question. Was last year the failure, or was it the foundation for this breakout season for the Carlsbad Lancers? Because right now, Carlsbad looks like a championship team in high school softball in San Diego. This week in San Diego high school sports, it's all about turnarounds and top-tier dominance. In softball, Carlsbad High School has gone from 8-15 season last year to a perfect 11-0 start in 2026, emerging as one of the top teams in the section. In baseball, Frank, it's my Cathedral Catholic Dons that have continued to prove why they're number one.
Yep, beating Rancho Bernardo High School in the Lions tournament for the Lions tournament title. And across the board, we're seeing elite individual performances from dominating pitching outings to record level track marks. It has been a heck of an open to the spring sports season for San Diego High School.
Yeah, and you look at some of the other big storylines, of course. I mean, you look at the San Diego high school sports that are starting to show us who the real contenders are. And this week, one of the biggest storylines is a complete turnaround. We're talking about a team that obviously struggled last season and now looks like one of the best teams in the entire section. And that storyline, of course, is the Carlsbad softball turnaround. They might be the best story in San Diego right now. Last season, 8-15, had a lot of chemistry issues, injuries, a step backward for a traditionally strong program. And this season, 11-0, ranked number 2 in the section, and already owns wins over the Open Division champion in Mater Dei Catholic. So as mentioned, Frank, I talked about it a little bit in my open, but what changed? It seems like it's been a chemistry thing.
Yeah, it starts in the circle with pitcher Sophia Tillis, who has been dominant. She's 10-0. with a 0.54 ERA, nearly 100 strikeouts, and completely controlling games. But the bigger difference might be the team chemistry. Players themselves said last year they lacked trust, and this year feels completely different. Add in explosive offense, averaging over 8 runs per game, and it's looking like a legitimate championship contender in the CIF San Diego section.
Let's talk about baseball. We talked about the Cathedral Catholic baseball team against Rancho Bernardo. They got a true heavyweight matchup between the Dons and the Broncos in the Lions tournament, number 1 versus number 2. And it's just like you'd expect. It came down to one mistake. Cathedral capitalized early and wrote a dominant pitching performance from Cody Reynolds to a 3-0 victory, a one-hitter complete game. That's what elite teams do. They don't need a lot of opportunities. They just need one. And right now, Cathedral Catholic looks like the most complete team in the county. But moving on, it sounds like we got some other performances around baseball and rising performances in the rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing some standout individual performances across the county. Freshman Colton Wyndham from Granite Hills went 10 for 13 in the Lions tournament. Jeremiah Jennings from Madison threw a no-hitter in the tournament as well. Track and field, Justin Richardson from Rancho Buena Vista jumped to number 1 in the state in the triple jump. That's the kind of talent that not only wins locally, but puts San Diego on the map nationwide.
Yeah, not every team is cruising, though. Grossmont ran into a classic baseball program. They ran into some pitching depth issues, and after 4 games in 4 days, they ran out of arms and gave up 12 runs in a tournament loss. It's a reminder that in baseball, especially in tournament play, depth matters just as much as talent. But, the big question of the week is the talent versus chemistry standpoint. And right now it seems like for Carlsbad, it's been the team chemistry, and you love to see that at a high school sports, especially with how and where sports are going at the college and high school level. It's great to see a story like Carlsbad.
Yeah, exactly. It's always nice to see a team that's able to regroup and change. Not sure what changed over the course of the year. Maybe there were some new underclassmen that came up. Maybe there was a coaching change. I honestly don't know. But it is always nice to see a team that looked completely lost last year completely do a 180 the next season and really turn it around. It's really special to see.
High school baseball, spring sports, high school softball starting to heat up here in San Diego. We're going to get to our sports thread in just a little bit. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. Want to mention that you can enter for a chance to win a trip to the night before the draft in Pittsburgh, April 22nd. It's an all-star invite-only concert starring Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Prophet just days before Jason Aldean's new album, Songs About Us, drops on April 24th. Enter the national contest at odyssey.com/the night before. We're going to talk about Randy Vasquez in the noon hour. We're going to get into what Craig Stammen said on the manager report, which is also brought to you by SDCCU. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. We'll do that in the noon hour as well. But let's talk about the Joe Musgrove situation that we didn't get to earlier this week. I talked about it going to break. The pitch, that the pain that he feels that really gives him the most pain is the slider and breaking pitches. But it's the slider. Now, if you go to Baseball Savant, baseballsavant.mlb.com, and you search for Joe Musgrove's name, you could pull up and you go on his overall page. The first thing that pops up on when you look at the graphs as you scroll down is Joe Musgrove's pitch percentage by season. When he started in 2016, he was throwing a lot of four-seam fastballs. And his time in Pittsburgh, he threw a lot of four-seam fastballs. Started to use the slider a little bit more in 2019, started to use the slider a little bit more in 2020. And then when he became a Padre, he threw the slider the most out of any pitch in his arsenal. In 2021, when he had that dominant season where he threw that no-hitter, he was using his slider 27.8% of the time. He was using his fastball 20% of the time. It was the third most used pitch. He was going heavy on the slider, heavy on the curveball. Sliders have a lot of impact on your elbow. A lot of impact on your elbow. I mean, that is a pitch that destroys your arm. And so he threw the slider 27.8% of the time in 2021. It was the most used pitch that he had. In 2022, most used pitch that he had. 2023, battled some injuries. All of a sudden, he stopped using the slider as much. It was mostly fastballs again, mixed with the curve, started throwing the cutter a little bit more to get a pitch with a little bit more movement. 2024, in the article by Kevin Acee, it talks about how he had 20 starts with elbow pain. Well, guess what pitch he stopped using a lot in 2024? In fact, he used it the least. That'd be the slider. So right now, it's no surprise to me that Joe Musgrove has pain specifically tied to his slider and some of his breaking pitches. Now, he can rip it. He already said he can rip the slider all day long, right? He can rip those breaking pitches without any consequences to his arm because it's been repaired. Everything like that is fine. But when he tried pushing through the pain continued to get worse, even though it wasn't doing any damage to his arm, according to the MRI. So he's trying to regain his identity and find that situation of being able to pitch and be effective. Now, the Padres rotation is still holding together. He doesn't need to be rushed back. I think that adds to this situation for the Padres. I think it makes it an easier decision for Joe Musgrove not to come back too fast. If the rotation was struggling, there'd be more pressure on Joe Musgrove to come back. But since it's not with German Marquez, and hopefully tonight with Walker Buehler, he has a bounce back. Joe's gonna put the internal pressure on himself, but the external factors make it less urgency for the Padres to try to bring him back. Now, how many versions of Joe Musgrove are left? In 2023, he pitched through multiple injuries. In 2024, he had 20 starts with elbow pain. In 2025, he got Tommy John surgery. And right now in 2026, he still can't ramp up normally like he would like to. It's a lot of mileage on that arm. In terms of the timeline, even if you look at the best case scenario right now for Joe Musgrove, build confidence throwing, start bullpen sessions, progress to live hitters, rehab assignment, getting multiple starts in the minor league, then he gets to Major League Baseball. That's not a few weeks away. That is a long runway to potentially come back. This is no longer a when will Musgrove return situation. This is more about what version of Joe Musgrove is going to come back and for how long. Which is tough to see for the local kid that has done a lot for this organization. So we're wishing that he comes back as soon as he can and as best as he can, because he is somebody worth rooting for. The type of person that Joe Musgrove is, how he represents this city, how he represents this organization. I will not tolerate seeing the slander of Joe Musgrove on social media about how he's like taking money from the organization because he got paid this big contract. I'm not going to entertain that conversation. But I'll be excited when he comes back. And you hope that he can come back as soon as possible, and hopefully he makes it through the rehab process. It's going to be a tough road, but this guy's earned an opportunity to be able to toe the rubber again for the San Diego Padres, and I'll be excited to see him back on the mound when we do. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime close. Masters are going on. What else is going on in the sports world? It's time to get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got going on today?
Oh, we got a good amount of stuff going on today. We'll start with the National Football League.
Number 1.
The U.S. Department of Justice has launched an investigation into whether the National Football League is violating antitrust laws through its media rights deals, particularly as more games are being placed behind paid streaming and cable subscriptions rather than free broadcast television. While the league still airs the majority of its games locally for free, fans increasingly need multiple subscriptions spanning platforms like Amazon Prime and Netflix to access the full slate, raising concerns about affordability and competitive fairness, especially given that the NFL's long-standing antitrust exemption was designed for a much different broadcast landscape, putting billions in media revenue and the future structure of the sports broadcasting under scrutiny. Is the NFL shift towards streaming and subscription-based access just smart business in a changing media landscape, or is it crossing the line into unfair practices that price out everyday fans?
Well, they've been pricing out everyday fans for a long time now. They have a monopoly over the sport of football. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. And this is all the stuff. This is what I said a long time ago with streaming. It's all fun and dandy when it's like cheap before, because it was a new thing and you're trying to get people to come watch your product. And it was cheaper than cable. That's why people love streaming. And I said, eventually, when they move when everybody starts jumping over there, guess what they're going to do? They're going to raise the prices on everything. And it's going to set a bad precedent. You're ending up going to be paying more than what you pay for just having cable and making it easier, because cable is a superior product. I will say that. but the money's different now. And the NFL just like negotiating their rights all over the place and making it impossible to watch their product. The only way you beat them is by not signing up for it. That's how you do it. Like, if you continue to sign up for all these things, you're going to continue to pay, and they're going to continue to raise the price. It is worth what somebody's willing to pay. And if you keep signing up for it, you are willing to pay what they charge. Like, that's what it is. I mean, so for a lot of people that watch the NFL, they think it's worth it to sign up for all these things. I mean, eventually you're going to have to be like, I can't do this anymore. And that's when the NFL will change their price because they'll start losing money. But if everybody continues to just keep paying for it, they're going to keep raising their prices. That's what businesses do. You as the consumer have the effect to determine how much to pay for things. You just got to say no sometimes. It's supply and demand. It's you don't like certain people making a ton of money? Don't buy their stuff. It's not crazy. You have the power to do it. I don't mind the DOJ looking into it, though. I mean, it needs to be more affordable. You have to have access for people to watch. I think it's unfair. But at the same time, sometimes you got to make the sacrifice of not paying to watch it.
And if the DOJ wins this case, guess what? Major League Baseball, look over your shoulder because you're going to be next with how many games are being put behind paywalls in Major League Baseball.
That NHL, all these leagues.
Number 2.
To be fair, the NHL is television and ESPN Plus. So that's different for the NHL. FIFA has introduced even more expensive ticket tiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup with front category seats for the U.S. opener reaching as high as $4,100, significantly higher than earlier listed prices, while similar premium tiers have been added for other matches, including Canada's opener. Prices for later rounds have also surged, with the final at MetLife Stadium now reaching $11,000, reflecting a broader trend of rising costs despite fan backlash. Though FIFA has also introduced lower-priced supporter tier tickets, overall pricing strategy highlights FIFA's expectation of high demand and sellout crowds, but raises concerns about accessibility for the average fan. Do you think raising ticket prices for major events like the World Cup are justified by demand, or are they making the sport less accessible? More or less.
I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, they're making the sport less accessible. They don't care. People are paying for it. Companies pay for it. Like, a lot of people go to games for sports through their company now because they can't afford tickets on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so companies buy it, and they have, like, their company seats, and they use it to wine and dine clients. And sometimes they have extra tickets for you to go as an employee of the, like, this is where the model is going for people like to watch sports in person, because that's where the money can be made. And again, it's the same thing, supply and demand. If you don't, there's a lot of people that are like still like hashing out all this money for tickets for things. If you wanted to go, stop paying. Again, it's like that's the only thing I could say to like try to stop this is you got to stop paying. I mean, I know people that only go to sporting events in other cities if their company has tickets. My cousin, like, they do a bunch of work for, they have a plumbing company, and they do work with all these other organizations, and they get tickets to the Nuggets all the time. They don't pay for their tickets. They just go when there's tickets available for the company suite, whatever it is. That's it. That's the only, and then they watch on TV. I think watching on TV is a great product for diehard fans anyway. You get to see more of it, but it's just the market that teams are looking for to fill their stadiums. In general, that's the market they're looking for. And if people are willing to pay for it and companies are willing to pay for it, that's what is going to be the price for certain things. That's how money works.
Number 3.
Sorry.
Wanted
to get to this one. Former G League guard Dink Pate has committed to the Providence Friars, continuing a growing trend of pro route players returning to college basketball after going undrafted. While bringing strong production and improved shooting from to his time at the Westchester Knicks, his addition alongside San Diego State transfer Miles Bird gives new head coach Brian Hodgson a major early recruiting boost. He looks to quickly reshape the roster for Providence. Is G League to college path becoming legitimate? or does it highlight flaws in the system?
Yeah, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
They need to
Major
make
problem.
those guys just be professionals. That's what they need to do. They need more G leagues out there and see how it works. Noon lunchtime hour when we come back.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Noon lunchtime hour on the Fans, brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Where are the tacos at?
Friday night tacos.
Friday night tacos on money. I'm about to go to Los Chukis again. It is a beer fest night, which means late night tacos in the gas lamp. Do you know what time the gates are opening today? Did you see what time the gates are opening today?
They usually open at 5, no?
Oh, no. You know what time the gates are opening today for the first City Connect party in the park?
Oh, God. Was it like 3?
3:30.
Oh, jeez.
You going to the game tonight?
Yes, I am.
You better get down there early, big dog.
I'm going right after this.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going back down to I'm going back to my where I'm carpooling down with my friend and a couple of friends, and we're going to Uber down there to the ballpark tonight for Party in the Park. Now, whether or not we decide to post up at Bub's first, it will be a game time decision. I was not informed what the decision was on that. I don't necessarily know if I want to hang out at Party in the Park for like 3:30 to 6:40 for the beer stuff. I do have, you know what I did last time? I finally made a smart decision. Here's the thing with the Friar Funds, guys.
I finally made a smart decision.
I made a smart decision finally for the Party at the Park. Last beer fest, the other Friday, I went down there and we got in there late because we had to come down from the show and everything like that. And it was later than I would want it to be. But I stood in line for the Friar Funds, which was a long process. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is what you got to do. Those Friar Funds don't expire, and they can be used anywhere in the ballpark. So don't think about getting the Friar Funds on a sense of, oh, I'm only going to have like 2 of these beers at Beer Fest. Get it for, I just waited in line for however long, because there's not, the Padres, I think, do a really good job of expediting those lines as fast as possible. They got people cranking out purchases for the Friar Funds. Stock up on the Friar Funds. And so you have them. So I have like 7 of those things from last time. So I don't have to wait in line as much. Or if I get there early to party at the park. By the way, it's better to get the games early in general. Get there early for the party in the park. Be one of the first people in line to buy Friar Funds. Stock up for the year. Stock up for the year. Or at least the next couple of weeks. Now, you can spend your money how you want. But I'm telling you right now, it's better the way you're buying yourself out of problems of having to wait in line. Now, here's again, Prolific in the chat goes, I don't drink like that. I'm telling you right now, you can use it for other stuff. It's not just for beer or alcohol. They accept the Friar Funds everywhere. So you could stock up, maybe have a beer or 2, and then you could go use the Friar Funds for some other stuff. It's great. Friar Funds are great.
Don't drink alcohol anymore, Braden. Stop yelling at me.
Yeah, but you could still use the Friar Funds for other stuff. So when you go hang out with Cole Brooks, who says he drinks like a fish, throw him a couple extra bucks, help the brother out, and then you get some of the Friar Funds back. You could use it for other things at the ballpark. You get in line. Here's what you do: you get in line, you help your boys out, you buy some Friar Funds, or you go like, I'll wait in line for you, I'll throw a couple of your way, and then you get them to pay you back in the Friar Funds, and then you go use the Friar Funds to buy some merch, some City Connect merch. You could use that stuff for anything in the ballpark. Those things are good for anything in the ballpark. I'm pretty sure. It's great. And they never expire, which is awesome. So you got people out there going like, hey, I'm not going to use this. They offer you a Friar Fund. You better take that Friar Fund. Let me tell you, that is valuable assets at Petco Park. Be like the Monopoly man with all your Friar Funds. So that's something to look out for tonight. Again, I'd get down to the ballpark early. I like getting down to the ballpark early. I like it being stress-free. It's good to Uber down there early. If you have parking and you have a designated driver, get down there early. Go enjoy the gas lamp before the gates open, and then have a good time instead of being rush with everybody else there at the same time. Now, I get it. People got work. They get off work a little late. One of the buddies that is coming to the game with me is going to meet us there. I understand. Take the trolley down there early, carpool down there early, Uber down there early, drive down there early, get down there and enjoy the ballpark. Enjoy the ballpark. That ballpark is number one in the country for a reason. It's got a lot of cool amenities. Enjoy the ballpark.
And you're definitely going to want to get there early because did you see the reports that came out of the Padres store yesterday?
Oh, boy.
They sold $1.1 million worth of City Connect merchandise, which doubled their their previous highest day ever, which was the 2023 opening day. So get there early if you want City Connect merchandise, especially in your size.
As Rob said, don't be a rookie. Get down to the ballpark early. Anyway, New York Mike wants you to rate the chili dog.
That's cool.
You don't like chili dogs?
I'm not a big chili dog guy. No.
Do you not like chili? I know you like hot dogs.
Not really, no.
We got to change that. We're easing you into better food. We're easing you into like just being a little bit more. You know what? I'm surprised you don't like a lot of good like extra food because your dad makes some great stuff. What was that thing he made on Easter?
Oh, the Pizza Rustica, the Easter
Pizza
pie.
Rustica. That was amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Very, very good.
I don't think anybody knows this. Frank's dad is a chef.
I was not that far.
It's pretty good. I mean, I gave his lasagna a high rate. He thought it should have been rated higher, but you know what? I don't give out rookie scores. But you would think Frank would like have a little bit more of a palate. I know you're allergic to a lot of stuff, but there's some things on there that I think you should.
No, I understand.
There's some other items out there I think you're missing out on. Broaden your horizons a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Get that chili dog.
The mental block. I know it. I'm not going to deny that. I know it is.
Casing should remain pure, Braden. Chili soils the casing, according to Juan in the YouTube chat. That's amazing. All right, let's regroup here. Let's get back on track to what we've been talking about. We do want to talk about Randy Vasquez and how great of a performance he had yesterday. We're going to get to that in a second. But let's get to the update on Jason Adam. His return is a reinforcement to what has been a really good bullpen. Now, that being said, the bullpen has allowed a lot of inherited runners to score, which is not great. Jason Adam is essentially done with his rehab and ready to go. He had 5 scoreless innings in AAA. Through back-to-back outings, he tested his leg in the field, fully cleared physically. And his mindset is end of spring training, he's itching to compete. Wants to pull his weight, he says, on a contending team. He's obviously ready to go. I'm curious to see when this roster move is going to be made. But the bigger storyline here is what are you going to do with the bullpen? Because the bullpen's been pretty good, except for some players that might not have options to go elsewhere. Padres bullpen, as of yesterday, before yesterday's game, a 3.44 ERA, 12th in Major League Baseball. And that's including the struggles of Jeremiah Estrada and Adrian Morejon and even Kyle Hart. Mason Miller's been absolute unbelievable pitching. I mean, he's doing things that are crazy. You look at, and Frank sent me this tweet earlier from Buster Olney. Buster Olney had this to say about Mason Miller. Just to say, this is nuts. including 2 playoff appearances, Mason Miller, since August 6th of last season, which is basically since he has been a San Diego Padre, 104 batters faced, 66 strikeouts. 66. He is striking out 63% of the batters he faces. He has allowed 5 hits and no runs. That is crazy how good he is. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy how good of a pitcher he has been. But you got a lot of arms performing a lot of different roles right now in this bullpen, and it's deep, it's layered, it's dangerous. It's probably not playing at as high of a level as they would like with inherited runners. But it's going to be interesting with this roster crunch coming up, because in order to add Jason Adam to the roster, you're going to have to deal with someone getting squeezed here. Ron Marinaccio is out of options. He's got a 2.35 ERA. You have to DFA him or keep him on the team. I don't think they're going to DFA him. I wouldn't. Would you DFA Ron Marinaccio, Frank?
No.
Absolutely not. I think he stays. Other options. Or these are players with options. David Morgan. Are you going to option David Morgan after last night and what he has done?
Don't even finish that.
Absolutely not. You got to keep David Morgan on the team. What about Bradley Rodriguez? I wouldn't option him either.
Not over Jeremiah Estrada.
Bradley Rodriguez has a 1.17 ERA. He went 1 1/3 yesterday with a strikeout. I don't think you can option Bradley Rodriguez. Absolutely not. They might, because he's got the most options out of the group, and it may be a clean trade-off. But I wouldn't do that for the betterment of the bullpen. Kyle Hart also has options. He has struggled, but he's very flexible, Frank. I don't know why you would do that either, because if you decide to send Kyle Hart down to add Jason Adam, who's your long relief guy now? Is it Marinaccio? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. And I'm looking at the pitcher use chart. I'm trying to picture in my head, as small as it is, who would be pitching tonight. It doesn't look like you would get any answer. Like Estrada, if Estrada were to pitch tonight, that'd be 3 straight days. He's not pitching tonight. Morgan, you could probably pitch him late game important situation. I would think Adrian Morejon would be your closer. Even though he's only thrown 20 pitches, I don't see Mason Miller getting 3 straight days of work. Bradley Rodriguez threw 20 pitches last night. You can maybe make a decision on Kyle Hart, because he didn't pitch last night. He last pitched on the 8th. I would have to think you're going to use Peralta, Marinaccio, and Hart tonight, and then probably Morejon if it gets to that point. So, I mean, there are some guys that you could see tonight that may be on an audition if it came down to possibly Jason Adam, if it came down to Jason Adam coming up. So, other than that, I mean, I don't see. I think Rodriguez and Estrada had their audition last night for that, and Estrada did not perform well at all.
No, I mean, I don't know how much. So we haven't gotten to Estrada yet, but Estrada is also a player that has options, right?
He
has an option left, and the options again are like they basically do it for the year now.
Yes.
So he could come up and down as you please this year, relatively.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably more details to that, but it used to count like every time.
Yes.
He would go up and down, it would count, and so teams would be like worried about it. But now it just counts as one. So he's got basically, once they send him down, if they decide to use that option this year, this is the last year they can go up and down. So at this point in time, your candidates to take out of the bullpen in order for Jason Adam to be added, and we don't know if they're doing that today or not. Jason Adams says he's ready to go. He had 5 shutout innings in AAA. El Paso has been cleared physically. So the candidates are Ron Marinaccio, who's out of options. You'd have to cut him. I don't think so.
No.
I think you keep him.
And there's especially with him being one of the fresher arms in the bullpen for tonight. Let's just, in a world where you do bring up Jason Adam before the game, Marinaccio is one of your fresher arms in the bullpen. He wouldn't go anywhere.
Well, plus you'd have to lose him permanently, and you don't want to do that. So you're going to keep him. The guys that have options, David Morgan, Bragley Rodriguez, and Kyle Hart. Now, Morgan pitched yesterday. Bragley Rodriguez pitched yesterday. This is what Frank was talking to about bullpen usage. I know Kyle Hart has struggled, but I think he's in a role that not a lot of people can do. Not a lot of people are on this team to do. So I think honestly, the question comes down to, do we make it a clean move of Bragley Rodriguez, who's pitched well enough to be on our team, who has pitched really good and is an asset for this team at this point in time? Has he pitched his way onto this team where he's not even considered? Or it comes to the question of how much leeway and how much leash do you give Jeremiah Estrada at the beginning of the year, where his expected ERA right now is 6.31, Frank? It's a 6.31 expected ERA. His actual ERA is a 5.14. Remember, the 2 runs he gave up last night are unearned because they were inherited runners at second base in extra innings. They're still runs, though. And he still didn't look very good. His velo's down. How much leash do you give a guy that has been proven to be good at the major league level? And how much do you look at the end of last season when you make this decision? To me, I think this is a great opportunity to get Estrada right down in AAA. And don't look at results, but just look how he pitches. See if he can get his velocity up. See if you can find some things that might be going wrong. And I wouldn't treat it as a demotion. I would treat it as like, we got to get you right so you can come back and help us. And that to me would be the move over whatever he has been able to do in the past.
Bottom line is, Jeremiah Estrada almost cost you the game twice last night against a more or less quadruple A lineup and Brenton Doyle. I would send Estrada down. I would use that option. I would send him down, as you said, to get him right. Bragley Rodriguez has done nothing to earn himself getting demoted. He has been fine. He has been serviceable. He hasn't been as dominant as you would have hoped, but he hasn't done anything to be a detriment to the team, to be a detriment to the bullpen. Jeremiah Estrada, again, almost cost you the game twice last night. He would be the guy that I would send down.
And here's the other thing, too. If Bragley starts to struggle, guess you can pull it right back up. Jeremiah Estrada, right? I mean, you can just, there it is. Simple as that. So I think at this point, in terms of assets and in terms of like making the best bullpen while also keeping as many people part of the organization as possible, I would not be surprised if Jason Adam, when he gets activated, whenever that may be, is activated at the expense of Jeremiah Estrada getting sent down to AAA El Paso to get set. And I think you can phrase it in a sense that it's not like a demotion for Jeremiah. I mean, he knows he's working on his mechanics. He knows that his velocity is down, but I mean, you just look at like some of his outings; they just haven't been that great. I mean, I look back to like the opening series against Detroit, the 5-2 loss today. He gave up 4 runs in his time back, and he's put up some good numbers since then, right? Like he looked good against San Francisco throughout the week. He had good outings against Boston. He only gave up 1 hit against Pittsburgh, but so far in kind of crunch time in the 8th and the 10th and the 11th inning, those are outings where he wasn't very good. If you look at some of the outings that he has had, good outings, he came in the 8th inning against the Giants. That was a 9-3 loss. I mean, the game was already out of hand because was that the Armand Marquez game where he got just shelled?
I believe
yes, because that was game 2, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember off the top of my head. He came in a 7-1 victory over San Francisco. He came in the 6th inning, again, not necessarily high leverage. He came in the 7th inning in a 3-2 win against Boston. That was an important part of that game. He got a hold for that. He got the win against the Red Sox on Sunday, so that was pretty solid. But I mean, overall, it could be either an IL or a send down to AAA. That could also be the move too. They could put him on the 15-day IL. But I think it's an interesting decision the Padres have to make. When we come back, there is a deeper look. We're going to take a deeper look in the offense and why we can say that they're not getting lucky. They're getting lucky on a couple of things, but they're also not getting lucky for the majority of the time. We'll explain next on the Braden Surprenant Show, Seneca's Urban Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The Eagles' playoff collapse wasn't just a single play. It was a symptom of deeper issues. Jalen Hurts' preferences from shotgun over under center to changing plays at the line of scrimmage clashed with a passing game that struggled to stay dynamic. New offensive coordinator Sean Mannion brings motion, play action, and creativity, forcing Hurts to adapt like never before. The question is, though, can Philly's superstar quarterback evolve without losing his edge? With Brown's future uncertain and Smith ready to step up, 2026 could be a make-or-break year for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. The NFL never stops testing its stars, and Hurts is absolutely no exception. This week on our NFL weekly update, if you will, the NFL offseason, of course, is in full swing, and the Eagles' recent playoff collapse has everyone talking. The scene was dramatic. 43 seconds left in the wild card matchup against the Niners, and the Eagles were faced with a game-deciding fourth down. Offensive coordinator Kevin Patolo suggested a play. Quarterback Jalen Hurts had input, and the result was 4 verts, a play they just had run. 3 defenders coverage on tight end Dallas Goedert, and just like that, the Eagles season ended prematurely. But when you look at the inner breakdowns of this particular play in this latest article from ESPN, Frank, there seems to be a lot of problems going on behind the scenes between Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles staff.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, is how quickly all of this has kind of broken down. I mean, they were winning Super Bowls just a couple of years ago, and now you have such a fracture in this coaching staff, between coaching staff and your star quarterback, that it's now leading to what you saw on the field come the end of the season last year.
Right, and this failed play underscores deeper issues with the Eagles' passing game, which has struggled with predictability, lack of energy, and a reliance on Saquon Barkley to carry the load. Star wide receiver A.J. Brown's relationship with Hurts has been tested, especially amid trade rumors and mounting frustration over the offense's limitations. Hurts' strong preferences at quarterback, favoring shotgun over under center formations, adjusting plays on the fly, and managing the offense his way have both helped and hindered this team. And now you enter Sean Mannion, who is the new offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. He brings a Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan style system, emphasizing motion, under center play action, and dynamic adjustments. For Hurts, now getting the sixth play caller of his career, entering the NFL in 2020. This represents the biggest schematic change he's faced. His adaptability will be crucial to Philly's 2026 outlook. But based on the past, Frank, this doesn't sound like it's going to jive very well between Jalen Hurts and Sean Mannion.
No, it's absolutely not. And it's going to should lead to Jalen Hurts leaving Philadelphia, because, I mean, you cannot have, it's not great for a guy like Jalen Hurts to have this many offensive coordinators and this many offensive play callers in such a short amount of time. That's not great. You want to have that one voice that you can trust, that one voice you can get used to, and that one voice that you can kind of read each other and feel the flow of the game through each other. So that has not helped him. But this, as far as what has been written in this article, for him wanting basically everything the opposite of everything that Mannion's bringing in, it's going to be very, very ugly in Philadelphia.
Despite the challenges that Hurts has faced, he has still been a better quarterback in the National Football League. His playoff performances and Super Bowl MVP obviously highlight his ability to thrive on the biggest stages, but still balancing his strong-willed leadership style with a new system and keeping star receivers like Brown or Devonta Smith engage will be key. And the Eagles offseason is all about chemistry, adaptation, and making sure their offensive firepower lives up to expectations. But the key takeaways for 2026 for the Eagles in this offense, they say that Hurts is open to new schemes, but he's going to be tested with Mannion's motion-heavy system and being under center. Brown may not be in Philly. Smith could take on a larger role in Philadelphia. Eagles must find balance between star power, coaching vision, and in-game adaptability. And the NFL continues to show that even championship rosters aren't immune to internal friction and the evolving demands of elite quarterbacks. Now, the question I ask you and the question I'll answer myself, is this enough for Jalen Hurts to buy in? Can the Eagles overcome these problems and be able to be successful in the fall of 2026, or is this going to be catastrophically bad?
I don't think this is going to work out. I really don't. I think this is going to be one of those catastrophically bad scenarios, and one that leads to a possible blow up in Philadelphia. We saw at the end of last year when Hurts took a bigger role in doing what he wanted to do. Didn't work out well for them. I don't see it lasting over the course of the season.
Yeah, unless Jalen Hurts changes his ways, which sounds like he's broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. All guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. We need a contestant for a midday sports standoff when we come back on the other side of this break. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number sports station 97 through the Fan. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have 939 subscribers. We are trying to get to 1,000. We're so close. We are so close. We are, 61 away? 61 subscribers away from getting to 1,000. We want to get that 1K next to our name. If you haven't done so already, hit subscribe. You can find our show a lot easier that way, so you don't have to search, you don't have to browse, and we have a ton of extra content on there. Go to youtube.com/@B_SURP. It is free to subscribe. We have tons of content that is not just Padres related on there. A lot of Padres content too, but youtube.com/@B_SURP. To be fair, as Go Aztecs said, that's a lot in 1 year. It is.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? We appreciate all of our fans out there and all the listeners that have helped support us over this course of a year. We didn't really start pushing the YouTube page until October?
Yeah, right.
Maybe November.
There,
because it was kind of there, but not really. We'd have 3 or 4 people watching on our YouTube page. Now we have, 30 today. We have had up to 50, 60 sometimes. So we really appreciate it. It does do a lot, helps us spread the word, helps us get our name out there and stuff like that. I had the other day, I was playing as I wear my Sportsplex shirt, which, by the way, it's cool because it's blue and orange.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sweet. I had SURP, be SERP, not be SUP, be SERP. Anyway, I was talking with some guy on my team. He'd been on my team for 6-7 games. Game 8, he goes, "Are you the guy from the radio?" I was like, "Nope." Yeah. He was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea." I had no idea until you said, I was like, the voice sounded very familiar. He's like, "I listen all the time." Guys on my own softball team have no idea what I do, which is great. It's fine. I like being anonymous sometimes, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that don't know that we're on. There's not a lot of people that don't know that we're on every single day from 10 to 2. We're trying to spread the Braden Surprenant Show as much as possible. We really appreciate you when you guys subscribe. Again, it's free to do. You get notifications for when we jump on the air. We have extra content on there. And we do that to try to give you as much San Diego sports as possible. We have stuff on the goals. We have stuff on San Diego State, USD, UCSD. We don't take super deep dives into those things in terms of completely breaking things down. But we give you updates on what's going on. There was a lot of times growing up where I was like, "Oh yeah, what are the goals doing?" I have no idea. I don't know what the goals are doing. I'm kind of trying to make it on the YouTube page a place that 12 to 15-year-old me wanted to have here in town, of like knowing what's going on with all the sports in town. I love going to sporting events. Like I go to my friend, she coaches volleyball at Scripps Ranch. I go to all of her like indoor and beach volleyball matches. They're fun. It's fun to go to sports. I like going to high school sports. I like coaching high school sports. I like doing this. I like doing all sorts of sports and not just, the big sports. So we try to do that a little bit more on the YouTube page. And on YouTube, we also do like Mondays is our NFL update and our college sports update. That comes out on Mondays. On Tuesdays, we dive deeper into the other San Diego teams. San Diego FC update comes out on Tuesdays. San Diego Goals come out on Tuesdays. Our local colleges, we update you on every Wednesday. We have all 3 D1 universities in town. We give you their sports update on Wednesdays. Today on Thursdays, this is the day where you get the NBA and NHL, yesterday was Thursday. Thursday, you get the NBA and NHL updates. And on Fridays, we don't have a motorsports update today because they were off last week, but on Fridays, we do motorsports and we do high school football or high school athletics. So we got a lot of the high school athletics on there as well. And we keep you updated once a week and we try to do it's best the job we can at letting you know what's going on in San Diego, but also what's going on in the regular sports landscape that's, with the San Diego flair to it, if you will. And that's all on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@B_SURP. So we appreciate that. SD Flipper 743. We appreciate the subscription. Again, it's free to do. It supports us. It helps get our name out there. And love all of you that have been able to do that. We don't have too much time. I do want to get into the Padres offense in the next segment. We do need a contestant for Midday Sports Standoff. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you could take me down to sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win a pair of tickets to My Chemical Romance at Petco Park on August 30th. Tickets are at Ticketmaster.com. We're going to do that when we come back. Masters update for you. Rory's in first. Rory's 7 under on the tournament. He's 2 under today through 6. Justin Rose, 5 under for the tournament. He finished today 3 under already. Jason Day is tied for second as well. Patrick Reed's tied for second. They're both 5 under also as we look at some of the leaderboard scores at the Masters. This is a play. I told you, what is that, yesterday? I said I got to start entering my name for this ticket deal.
Yeah.
I got to start doing that. They'll never let us broadcast there, obviously, but if you ever won like tickets to the Masters, you would have to go, and your boss would have to understand, right? I mean, it's like that's like a dream come true. I mean, it's gorgeous there right now. I mean, it's a lot better than when like the couple of times where it rained, but it's looked awesome. See if I can find some of the local guys for you on the leaderboard. Scotty Scheffler, not a local guy, but he's even.
I think they just showed
on the tournament.
I think they just showed that Xander's 2 over today at least. I'm not sure what he is overall.
Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's going to make the cut. JJ Spawn, the San Diego State Aztec, is 5 over. The projected cut right now is +4 on the projected cut. So we'll see where some of these guys play out. I mean, JJ Spawn is right there off the cut, trying to make the cut into the weekend. You said 2 over for Schauffele?
I think that at least today he was 2 over. I don't know what he is for the tournament. I don't even know if that was Schauffele. I just saw S on the last name. I thought it looked like him.
VJ Singh's 1 over today through 12.
Good on him.
It's so cool seeing VJ Singh's name. That's the other cool thing about the Masters is like the former champions get to play, right? So you get to see some names you don't see in a long time. Xander's 2 under for the tournament. He's even today through 7.
Okay.
That puts him tied for 15th. He's dropped 9 spots, but still early on in his second round. So hopefully he can move up the leaderboard a little bit more. Brooks Koepka, 3 under. He has finished today. He's 3 under for the tournament, 3 under today. Xander Schauffele, as I mentioned, 2 under for the tournament, even through 7.
Gary Woodland just finished his day. 3 over, I think.
Jordan Spieth, 1 over for the day. He's 1 over for the tournament. Justin Thomas, 2 over for the tournament, 2 over today. Colin Morikawa, 2 over for the tournament, even today through 7. You mentioned Gary Woodland, 3 over for the tournament, 4 over through 17. You said he just finished?
Yeah, he just finished up.
Bryson DeChambeau is 4 over. He's even through 7. So projected cut about +4. When we come back, we'll talk about the Padres offense, and we will also get into the midday sports standoff. Only a couple of segments left on a Friday. Getting ready for a City Connect Friday. We'll also hear from Craig Stammen in the next hour. He was on the manager report earlier today. We'll hear what Craig Stammen had to say with Ben Woods in the next hour as well as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. For weeks, the question around San Diego baseball has been simple. Can they finish games this weekend? Well, they answered it. The Toreros just swept Santa Clara, and they didn't just win. They dominated 3 straight games of complete baseball, strong pitching, clutch hitting, and lockdown bullpen performances. After struggling all season to close games, USD finally flipped the script. They finished innings. They finished at-bats, and they finished the weekend with a statement sweep over the Santa Clara Broncos. Andrew Ghana had a monster series. In fact, he wins the West Coast Conference Player of the Week. This week, the pitching staff was lights out, and for the first time all year, you saw consistency out of the Toreros. Now the big question, was this a turning point in the season or just a hot streak? Because if this team really figured it out, the rest of the West Coast Conference should be on notice. We've been asking the same question for weeks about San Diego baseball. Can they finish games? This weekend, they answered it. The Toreros didn't just win a series against the Santa Clara Broncos. They swept them, and more importantly, they did it with complete, consistent baseball from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Thursday set the tone. A 5-1 win. CJ Moran nearly hitting for the cycle. Pitching staff allowed just 3 hits while striking out 11. That's great. Friday, same story. 6-1 win. Diego Gutierrez dominating over 6 innings. Bullpen shut it down. And then Saturday, the exclamation point, a 13-6 win to complete the sweep. Their first of this season. Andrew Ghana had an incredible game. 3 for 4, 5 runs. 3 runs, 5 RBIs, and a home run. So USD hit 4 home runs, a season high. Fernando Palencia delivered a career best start in the bullpen. 3 games, 3 saves. Not just winning, that's responding to everything that has gone wrong earlier this season. And now you see USD moves to 12-17 overall, 5-4 in West Coast Conference play, and now they're right back in the mix.
Yeah, 5-4, you're right back in the middle of things. They're going to need a couple of things to go their way. They're going to have to, get a couple more sweeps under their belt, especially after losing 2 out of 3 to Gonzaga and to Pepperdine to start West Coast Conference play. They're going to have to really much flip the script the rest of the way. Can't have any more miscues if they want to be able to do damage in the West Coast Conference tournament, which they have to clinch first anyway, because not everybody makes the WCC tournament. Now, the positive sign out of this, of course, is they have a West Coast Conference tournament, which you have to win to make the NCAA tournament anyway, and nobody in the WCC is making it as an at-large. That ship basically sailed, when they could not get enough wins under their belt with the schedule that they had. So it's make the tournament first, the West Coast Conference tournament, and then there's where you have to win. I mean, there's been a lot of times where they have won the conference outright, like last year, won the conference outright, didn't win the championship game in the tournament, didn't go to the NCAA tournament. So trying to be spoiler this year in that particular sense. But, what changed for this team? It's actually simple. And head coach Brock Ungrich said it the best. The F word.
Wait, hold on. I can't dump. Hold on. What is it?
The F word. It's finish.
Oh,
it's
wrong.
Finish.
Wrong F word. My bad.
For weeks, this team lost late leads. They went cold offensively. They couldn't string together complete games, but this weekend they finished innings, at-bats, and games, and you saw it everywhere. Clutch hitting with 2 outs, bullpen locking down late innings, offensive depth top to bottom. That's the difference between a struggling team and a dangerous one, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving over to softball, softball had a strong week as well. They took 2 out of 3 from LMU, Loyola Marymount. Thursday, a 6-3 win, a big swing from Taylor Johnson's 3-run homer. Friday, a 3-2 win with a clutch 5th inning comeback. Strong closing pitching to seal it. And then on Saturday, you had a chance to sweep. Unfortunately, came up short, 11-6. but showed fight after a rough start. So a solid week for USD baseball and softball.
Yeah, USD ended up winning the series. As Frank mentioned, they improved to 3-2 in West Coast Conference play. And just like baseball, they're responding. So did those weekend change the trajectory of San Diego baseball season? Because the reality is, a week ago, we were talking about a team that couldn't close games, stuck under 500, looked like they might fall out of the West Coast Conference race entirely. But now, sweeping a conference opponent, got elite starting pitching, saw their lineup explode, and most importantly, finished everything. This is where the season can flip. And it either was two things. It's either a 1-week hot streak, or this is the moment where USD figured it out, because if they play like this, they're not just competitive, but they're a real threat to win the West Coast Conference. Now, this week on Tuesday, they will play the Anteaters of UC Irvine, who had been struggling in the Big West play. They play them Tuesday at Anteater Ballpark in Irvine. And then they have a huge conference series at first place, San Francisco, the Dons, currently in first place right now. Great opportunity for the Toreros as they will play day games this weekend in San Francisco. So pretty much a big measuring stick for USD to see if they can continue to do damage in the West Coast Conference. We'll keep you updated on how they did next week. All right. On the YouTube chat, that's the other thing about being on YouTube. You can chime in with us whenever you want. You can put it on the background, all that fun stuff. And it's fun because you can say some things that get fouls, like Nate Nagy. Foul.
He draws the foul.
Augie in the YouTube chat. Do we need someone to commit a foul, go to the box, get the boys fired up? Get fired up on a Friday, Frank. It's a Friar Friday. We're going to talk about Friday.
Happen.
Oh, there it is. Get fired up, Frank.
Not going to happen.
I love that. I love that that's a drop now. That's amazing. He's never coming back on the show with us. Just never. We're never going to get him back on the show. That's unfortunate. You know what? We can get Mickey Moniak on next time.
His annual visit.
Yeah, his annual visit. Get Mickey Moniak on the show. He's been off to a pretty good start. Good to see the San Diego guy. Yeah, one-time guest. One more time, because everybody loved it.
Not going to happen.
I feel like you can use that a lot now. You're welcome. You are welcome. Not going to happen. That is so great. All right, let's get to our midday sports standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frankie, we got playing today.
We have Larry in El Cajon playing today. Larry, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. All right, so we've spent a lot of today talking about the Padres pitching staff. It's been a solid pitching staff for that matter. But right now, we'll take a look at team ERA. Who are the top 10 currently in baseball in team ERA? Larry, you have the first guess.
Top 10 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
This is team ERA?
Yes, top 10 in team ERA.
Let's go with the Dodgers.
Dodgers are number 10 on the list.
I just saw this graphic the other day. It's the Rockies.
No, the Rockies are 13th. The Dodgers have a 336. The Rockies have a 362.
Padres just knock them out of that?
They
had like
might
a one. Maybe it's the bullpen.
They
here,
might
right?
have done. Larry?
Let's go with the Cincinnati Reds.
Get the bottom of the list. They've also had a 336 ERA. They are number 9.
Let's go with the Pods. See if the Pods are on there.
Larry, you're off to a flyer right now. Braden has 2 strikes on him already. Padres are number 11 with a 351 ERA.
351.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all just hanging around the bottom there.
Larry?
Seattle?
Seattle has the number 3 ERA, team ERA in baseball with 262.
Let's go with the Braves are off to a good start. Let's go with Atlanta.
They're off to the best start, as a matter of fact. They are 203 ERA team-wise. Number 1.
How about Chicago Cubs?
Cubbies are number 8 with a 330 ERA.
Pirates have the best starting staff. Let's go with the Buccos.
Number 7 at a 322.
So we've said Cubs, Dodgers, Reds, Pirates.
Yeah, so we've got
Mariners, Braves.
We got 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're missing 2. Missing 2, 4, 5, and 6. Larry, you only need 1 more to guarantee yourself a tie.
Let's go with the Yankees.
Well, you've guaranteed yourself the tie.
Nice.
So, Larry, you are qualified. We'll continue the game, though. Yankees were number 2 at a 235 ERA. Braden.
Let's go with well, you know what? This is why it was actually asked. Because the New York Mets are probably on that list.
They are on the list.
Anything that's a positive top 10, I just got to assume the Mets are involved. That's why Frank's putting it on the questions.
They're at a 321 ERA. They are number 6. We're missing 4 and 5. Larry?
Let's go with the Phillies.
Phillies are not on the list. It doesn't really matter. You've already guaranteed yourself a tie. So
Cleveland usually just cranks out.
Nope. Sorry.
You.
My bad. Yeah. Cleveland's number 5.
Back in it. Come on, get the last one.
Who'd you say, Larry?
Atlanta.
You already said Atlanta.
Oh, we said Atlanta. Let's go with the Diamondbacks.
Arizona's number 14. Again, Larry, it doesn't really matter. You've already clinched the tie. So
Great.
What about
number 4? I'll give you both a hint since the game is basically over. It's the American League.
Thank you. They can't. The Tigers are getting their ass handed to them, so it can't be them. What about the Texas Rangers put together a pretty sneaky starting staff, and they're off to a pretty decent start. Deep in the heart of Texas, the Rangers.
Well, Braden clawed back a tie at least, so saved some face on his part. But after a 2-strike opening, that was not great.
You know
Larry?
what? You know what Brock Ungrich says? Take a pitch with a strike if you have to, because I know my guys are going to be a dog with 2 strikes. Got to be a dog with 2 strikes.
Larry, congratulations. I will get your information during the break. The top 10 teams with top 10 team ERAs so far this season: the Braves, Yankees, Mariners, Rangers, Guardians, top 5, Mets, Pirates, Cubs, Reds, Dodgers, down to 10.
It's a good question.
Thank you.
All right. We need to, when we get to the top of the hour, or at least in the 1 o'clock hour, we do have to get to the manager report today.
Yes.
Which is presented by SDCCU. It's not big bank banking. It's better. We also are going to dive into this Padres offense. I do want to talk a little bit about it to kind of set the stage, and then we'll get into exactly what's going on with the Padres offense. How about, I know Xander Bogaerts last night with the grand slam, the walk-off grand slam, which was amazing. Do you know that Xander Bogaerts delivered the 12th inning walk-off grand slam, which is the first for the Padres since Slam Diego in 2020 in terms of a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah, Manny hit that.
He is now 9 for 22 over his last 5 games, showing signs of being an offensive stabilizer in a slumping core 4. Bogaerts is starting to heat up. Manny 2 for 11 since Sunday. Fernando 3 for 16 in that time frame. Jackson Merrill 1 for 17. I mean, Bogaerts is carrying the offense right now in terms of results. But overall, you start to look at some of the advanced numbers. This Padres team, I saw this from friend of the show and friend of the station, Clark Farrenhold, that we had on during the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
He put out a graph. The Padres, now they have statistics, right, that are your expected numbers versus your regular numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And if that difference is a positive, that means you're getting lucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that number is a negative, as in the expected numbers are way higher than your average number, than your regular numbers, then you're being unlucky. The Padres have I think it was like a negative 0.4 or something like that, and the difference between their expected numbers versus their overall numbers, they're 30th in Major League Baseball for that, which means they're the most unlucky team in Major League Baseball right now offensively. The most unlucky team based on hard hit percentage, based on putting the ball in play, based on launching, all that stuff attributes to the expected numbers. And it's not just Fernando, it's everybody on this team. And so you look at the results, people are like, these guys can't hit. Well, you look at the expected numbers to take a deeper dive of it's a small sample size right now, and they're actually doing the right thing, and the results are going to come. That's where you look at the analytics and the advanced numbers of offenses as well as pitching. And right now, Frank, the Padres are getting incredibly unlucky. I didn't really think we needed StatCast to tell us that based on what we've seen with our eyes.
No, absolutely not. There were a couple of hard hit balls. Nick Castellanos had one in the 11th inning last night to third right before the double by Luis Campusano. That one could have been the gapper, and that could have been the double that Campusano hit. Just hit it right at the third base when there were a couple of Adam balls last night as well. A few balls that hung up just a little bit too long. So they have definitely gotten unlucky for sure when it comes to that.
So if you look at their numbers, and Clark had the whole thing ranked 1 through 30 on team stats. They had the batting average expected in the difference, the slugging expected in the difference, and then the weighted on base average compared to the expected weighted on base average, which is quality of contact plus strikeouts and walks. They are negative on everything in terms of their overall numbers being less than the expected numbers. The Padres have an expected batting average of 260 and a regular batting average of 214. They're negative 0.46 on that. And the slugging numbers are negative 0.70, right? So their expected slugging is 406 when their actual slugging as a team is 336. And then their expected weighted on base average, this is the one that it's ranked on, is a 325. And their actual weighted on base average is a 284, which is the worst in the league, which means they are the least lucky team, the most unlucky team right now in Major League Baseball through 13 games on an offensive standpoint. So as much as everybody wants to continue to say like, oh, this team has no slug and everything like that, the balls that they're hitting and their approach at the plate is expected to be it's only a matter of time before things break through.
Time to break out the lucky rabbit's foot.
You know what we don't have to do though is draw names out of a hat for a batting order. Haven't had to do that. That's a positive. Congratulations to Larry on winning the Midday Sports Standoff today. When we come back, we'll look at the deeper numbers of the offense. Later on, we'll hear from Craig Stammen as part of the manager's report. Still a lot to get to on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 The Fan. 1 o'clock. Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're talking Padres baseball here in the final hour. In the next segment, we'll hear from Craig Stammen, who was on with the boys in the morning, as they talked about a lot of different things as part of the manager's report, which is brought to you by SDCCU. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Got a lot to get to still here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We got MLS soccer coming up tomorrow as well. San Diego is going to have a lot of events here in town this weekend. It's supposed to rain a little bit this weekend, so hopefully the weather is not too bad in San Diego. But anyway, let's get to the offense for the San Diego Padres. Now, the Padres offense has been a little unlucky. It's currently one of the worst in Major League Baseball by raw results. But the underlying metrics, the expected stats, and the hard hit data have shown that it is actually one of the best in terms of quality of contact and process. So I know it's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, roll my eyes. All I care about is actual results. But this is where like some of these numbers help tell a story of what is going to happen for this team. If the Padres were getting better results, but their process was not great, you would expect to have a massive fall off for this team. This is going to be the exact opposite. They're not getting the results right now, but they are showing signs of a good process and making solid contact. This is a classic case of extreme bad luck early in the season. And yes, they have gotten some good luck with some of the errors and some of the dribblers that have been able to reach on. But the results should prove significantly. I'm saying it right now. The offensive results for this team should improve significantly just looking at the data. Now, the surface level stats of what the table that Clark Farrenhold posted really shows. From the 2026 early season team rankings, through roughly 480 to 500 plate appearances per team, the Padres right now rank 30th in batting average, 214. They rank 30th in slugging, 336, and they rank 30th in weighted on base average at a 284. They sit dead last in the difference columns as well, which is important. Batting average versus expected batting average. The batting average is 46 points less than the expected. 214 batting average, 260 expected. The slugging, 70 points less than the expected. Actual is 336, expected is 406. Their weighted on base average is also 41 points less than their expected weighted on base average. 284 to the expected 325. No other team has anywhere near this large of a negative gap. Not a single one in Major League Baseball. The Padres are the single biggest underperformer relative to the quality of contact that they are making. Why are expected stats and hard hit numbers matter? Why do these matter? Why do these numbers matter? Raw batting average and slugging are heavily influenced by luck in small samples. Defensive positioning and plays, ballpark effects, weather and wind, simple random variance, a screaming liner right at a fielder, which we've seen now countless times. Especially in a small sample size, this is why you can't really look at those results right now. This is where you get the expected results. So, expected metrics, expected batting average, expected slugging, expected weighted on-base average fix this problem of weather and wind, ballpark effects, defensive positioning, simple random variances. And these numbers are calculated purely from StatCast data, exit velocity, launch angle, spray direction, using historical outcomes for balls hit the exact same way. They tell you what should have happened and not what happened. They stabilize much faster than actual stats, and they are far more predictive for future performance. This is why analytics and people that are into sabermetrics value this stuff when it comes to small sample sizes. Now, Let's talk about hard hit rate. A hard hit rate is an exit velocity that is greater than or equal to 95 miles an hour. It is the single best proxy for, are they squaring the ball up? High hard hit percentage plus good launch angles equals barrels and extra base power. It is the core input that drives X stats, or should I say expected stats. When a team has elite expected hard hit numbers but terrible actual results, it is almost always positive regression coming. The regression back to the mean of where they should be at. The process is good. The outcomes have just been unlucky. And this is what we're talking about when it comes to the Padres. What has the pitch-by-pitch data actually shown for San Diego? Well, as you look at the full StatCast file that has been created on Baseball Savant for the Padres, and you could do this by going to StatCast and going to a search, and on the search on StatCast, you select batter for player type, you put team Padres, and then for the included stats, you put all their regular stats, check some boxes, all their expected stats, etc. So the Padres have seen 1,018 pitches thrown to them in games. They have put 179 balls in play, and the average exit velocity on balls in play has been 88.8 miles an hour. Very strong. League average is usually around 88, 89. So they're on league average when it comes to their average exit velocity on balls in play. Their hard hit rate, which is baseballs hit north of 95 miles an hour. 95 miles an hour or higher, if you got an exit velo at that, you're looking at a hard hit percentage, which is 45.3% of the time. That is elite. Most teams don't have a 45% hard hit rate. In fact, the top 5 to 10% of teams historically have reached that mark. The Padres are hitting that right now. The estimated barrel rate, roughly, is 7.3%. That's a strong percentage for most teams. Average expected batting average on balls in play is a 348. That's excellent out of any team in Major League Baseball. And the average expected weighted on-base average across all plate appearances is 323, which matches a 325 solid MLB average or better when you include walks and strikeouts. The Padres are not striking out at a crazy rate or walking at a low rate in a way that tanks them. They're simply not getting the hits their contact deserves. And the bottom line with this offense, if you look at the data, the Padres are putting together very good at-bats, and their hitters are generating elite hard contact at a high rate. They're producing the highest or near highest expected batting average and slugging numbers in baseball, and they're not chasing or whiffing excessively in a way that suggests poor plate discipline. The offense is not very good. It is a good to very good offense that has been extremely unlucky on balls in play. A low BABIP, or batting average on balls in play, driven by variance and or some defensive positioning luck. The massive gaps between actual and expected stats are unsustainable. As the season continues, the Padres' batting average and slugging percentage should climb towards their expected numbers of 260 for batting average, 406 for slugging, and that would turn them from a bottom 3 offense they currently are to roughly a top 10 one. So they got to keep doing what they're doing. The process is excellent. The results just haven't caught up yet. And this is exactly the kind of offense that wakes up in a big way once the luck starts to even out. So again, as we've talked about before, they've played 13 games. That's a small sample size. They're doing the right thing. It doesn't need to be a process change. There's a couple of things that individually players need to work on, obviously, like Fernando and his timing and his mechanics. But overall, this team is putting together good at-bats and having good plate appearances at the plate. They're just not getting the results that they would like. Now, this is not something that you evaluate over the course of a year. This is how you look at small sample sizes to determine if the process is good, if they're doing the right things. And to me, I think the Padres offense are doing the right things. I think they're putting solid contact. I would be more concerned, Frank, if these numbers were relatively close to their poor actual numbers.
Yeah, because and also, again, as we kind of alluded to earlier in the week, that the fact that you're going into a new hitting philosophy, it is going to take some time for those results to show. And right now it's not showing because of the philosophy. It's showing because there's just no luck involved, and you need luck in baseball. So it's showing that the process and what they're working towards is working, but they're just not getting the results for it, which I think is the bigger key. The bigger key for what you're looking for out of this is that whatever the plan is good. It's just not, they're just not getting lucky enough to be able to execute the plan to its full effect.
I think they're executing the plan. I just don't think they're getting rewarded for it.
Right. Yeah.
They're executing what they're supposed to do. I like the at-bats they're putting together. I like the ball coming off the bat. I mean, you watch these guys, and here's why, like, for people that don't think these analytics matter. And I'm somewhere in between. I'm not a analytics guy, super analytics guy. But you know what? I will use it to kind of dissect when there's problems, and I'll use it to see if some of the results are legit or not. But for small sample sizes on how teams are performing throughout the year, it's a great way to see if are they actually as good as their numbers say they are. Because I don't know how many times you could sit there and watch Fernando or Xander or Manny hit an absolute seed right at somebody and go like, that sucks. That's not good. He sucks, right? Like, if this is the thing about baseball, and this is where like people don't understand baseball to a sense of, if I have a guy go up there 10 times and he hits the ball 9 times right at somebody on an absolute seed and he gets out, and he hits the ball 1 time as a dribbler and sneaks on base, I mean, he's hitting 100. Is that player bad? It's a small sample size. And somebody earlier this week on the YouTube chat said, like, it takes skill to hit it when they're not standing. Brother, this isn't men's softball where the ball's pitched underhand. I go place it wherever I want. I'm facing a hundo at certain different points of the strike zone. I'm trying to fight off sliders. I'm seeing the ball come in and make wicked moves. You think I could place that somewhere? Come on. Oh, it takes a skill to do that. So this is what the sabermetrics are saying. It's what the analytics are saying. Again, you can't completely evaluate, in my opinion, a team based on this. I also don't think you can completely evaluate a way a team does specifically in terms of just their eye test results. There's a place in baseball for both of these things. Now, if you look at individually, the most unlucky player right now for the Padres is Manny Machado. Manny Machado had 1 ball in play at 105 miles an hour, which is elite hard contact. His estimated expected batting average on that ball was 269. His estimated expected weighted on base average was 242. The actual outcome was reaching on a throwing error. So he got on base, but it wasn't credited as a hit. And the weighted on base average value for that event was a 0.9. Positive, but the underlying contact was even better than the error suggests in terms of quality. Compare that in the same limited sample. Xander Bogaerts, 103.1 mile an hour grounder, expected batting average 270, expected weighted on base average 243, also very hard contact. He reached on a fielder's choice and an error on the play. I mean, these are situations where he's doing the right thing at the plate, but it doesn't lead to the results in a batting average. Ty France hit a 103.3 mile an hour grounder that had an expected batting average of a 594. It was an absolute rocket hit by Ty France, yet it resulted in a ground out. Are you going to cut Ty France for that? Oh, he's not hitting the ball well. He hit the ball 103 miles an hour. How much more do you want? How much more do you want from him in that particular sense? This is where the analytics jump in to tell you the bigger picture. Jackson Merrill this year hit a 90.9 mile an hour fly ball, which was a very low expected batting average and weighted on base. In fact, his expected batting average was a 0.11. That's not unlucky. It's just weaker contact. Ended up dropping in for a hit. Gavin Sheets had an 85.8 mile an hour pop-up, low metrics expected out. But when you look at the broader context from the data that we've seen from the Padres, they as a whole are running massive negative luck. Actual weighted on base average versus their expected. Individual hitters with high quality contact but poor actual results are the ones most likely to regress positively fast. Machado fits this perfectly because he is a proven high skill hitter with a track record of strong contact. And when you see him hitting the ball 105 plus miles an hour on a ball in play that didn't become a hit, is a tiny sample bad variance. This is why these numbers exist. Expected metrics on his contact are solid to elite for that event, and you have him look like he's going to have quick turnaround potential. Players with hard hit rates this high on their balls in play or BIP tend to see results catch up within days or a week or two, especially veterans like Manny Machado, who doesn't have major underlying plate discipline issues in the current data that has been accumulated in these 13 games. Fernando Tatis Jr., Jake Cronenworth, also guys that are not hitting the ball well right now in terms of overall numbers, are also showing promising underlying signs in the data that they have accumulated so far. They have powerful swings, some high velocity contact mixed with strikeouts and walks. But Machado, in the general scheme of things, his single BIP in recent games is the cleanest example of elite contact, bad outcome. The bottom line is for this Padres offense and for individuals is Manny Machado is the Padres hitter that is most likely ready to explode. And this team is likely to explode offensively. They're squaring up the ball well. Manny's squaring up the ball well, and he's doing it as well as anybody right now. The hits and extra base hits are coming very soon. The process is already there. They're sticking to the process. They're not panicking. So this weekend, I'd keep an eye on Manny. And in the next several games, because he is the exact profile that wakes up rapidly once the batting average on balls in play normalizes. So for everybody saying like the offense is a problem and all this other stuff, this is the information that confirms what your eyes are seeing. Your eyes are seeing hard contact. Your eyes are seeing good at bats. The results are not there, but this is describing that the offense and the process is working. The results will come. When we come back, Craig Stammen was on with Ben and Woods earlier today. We'll hear what he had to say about a lot of different things as part of the manager's report, which is presented by SDCCU. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. We'll hear from Craig when we come back, and we'll get a preview for Padres and Rockies for the weekend to finish up the show. Braden Surprenant Show, Static Zone Sports Station 97 through the Fan. We are under 2 weeks left in the NHL season, and the best race in hockey is happening right now in the Atlantic Division. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Buffalo Sabres, and Montreal Canadiens are all within 2 points, and all three can still win the division. Sabres just dropped 8 goals on Tampa in their last meeting, and now they've got the easiest schedule remaining. And that's why I'm saying this. Buffalo is no longer a feel-good story. They are a legit threat in the East. Meanwhile, Tampa still has the experience, and Montreal is sitting right there waiting to shake everything up. This isn't just about making the playoffs anymore. It's about who gets the path. And right now, the Sabres might be holding all of the cards as we get ready for the final couple of weeks of the NHL season. All right, we're inside 2 weeks left of the NHL regular season, and things are getting real. Playoff spots are being clinched, divisions are tightening up, and we've got one of the best races in hockey happening right now in the Atlantic Division, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. Playoff clinchers, as it sits right now, the Tampa Bay Lightning and Buffalo Sabres are officially in the playoffs. Buffalo breaking what was the longest active playoff drought in professional sports in the United States. To get that, the Minnesota Wild win pushes the Montreal Canadiens into the postseason. Now, we know a big chunk of the playoff field, we're just fighting for seeding, and this is where things get wild. Meanwhile, Carolina controls the Metropolitan Division. Colorado controls the Central. The real drama, though, as you mentioned, is in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, it is the best race in hockey right now. Lightning, 102 points. Sabres, 100 points. And the Canadiens have 100 points themselves. And here's the kicker. All three still have a path to win the division. Massive game coming up. Lightning and Sabres, final regular season meeting between the two. Last time, 8-7 winner for the Sabres, a game with 100-plus penalty minutes. I mean, this is playoff hockey before the playoffs. And if you look at the schedule breakdown for the final three teams in the Atlantic Division, Sabres have the easiest path. Canadiens are middle of the road. And the Lightning, who do have a lot of the experience, they have the toughest schedule remaining. And the big takeaway is Buffalo might have the cleanest runway to steal the division.
And because of all this fighting between the Lightning, Sabres, and Canadiens, we've missed on one big team out of this division. The two-time reigning defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers are out of the playoffs. After winning back-to-back Stanley Cups, the Florida Panthers are now not going to be defending their crown this year, going for that three-peat because of this insanity.
We've been talking about this the last couple of weeks, and the Sabres have played their way out of a feel-good story. They're now a massive problem to deal with in the Eastern Conference. They had already proven that they can outgun Tampa. They've got momentum, and the path is there. Meanwhile, Tampa has the experience. Montreal is the wild card in this situation, but if Buffalo wins the division, that changes the entire Eastern Conference bracket. Key matchups with playoff implications coming up this week and into the weekend. Possible first round, Lightning and Bruins, Sabres and Canadiens. Out west, the Avalanche still are the team to beat, and the Wild versus the Stars feels almost inevitable in the playoffs. And the bubble chaos, Detroit Red Wings are fading, Ottawa Senators are still alive, and the Columbus Blue Jackets are fighting. Every game right now is a playoff game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that the Metropolitan Division and the Eastern Conference wild card looking a lot sharper now, as we mentioned on the show today, Monday, as we record this. The Islanders fired their head coach, Patrick Waugh. So that they're trying to shake themselves into a playoff position. So, I mean, as we look at this now, the Avalanche are elite. Hurricanes are consistent. The Sabres are a problem. The Lightning are still just as dangerous as they have been. And this bracket is going to come down to matchups, not just talent alone. You have to find the right teams at the right time if you want to make it through what is the craziest playoff of all four professional sports.
And here's also a big storyline that we haven't even talked about: the Pacific Division. I mean, the Pacific Division is crazy right now, and the Anaheim Ducks, who are running away with the division lead, have now squandered it with 3 losses in a row, and now they're tied with Edmonton at 87 points. Vegas is right there at third at 86 points, and the 2 wild card teams right now are the Utah Mammoth at 86 points and the Nashville Predators at 81. Kings are 1 spot out of a wild card spot out west as well, and they're tied with the Predators at 81 points. San Jose is 2 points off of Nashville in the Western Conference for the wild card. So there's a lot to play for. And you look at even like a team like the St. Louis Blues, they've won 2 in a row. They're 3 points behind the Nashville Predators for the final wild card spot. So still a lot to happen. And by the way, is it surprising to anybody that the only teams out west in the Western Conference that have clinched a playoff spot are coming from the Central Division?
No.
Avalanche, Stars, and Wild have all clinched playoff spots, 110 points, 102 points, and 100 points. And then you look at the Pacific Division, 87, 87, 86.
It's been a bloodbath all year.
Utah with 86 points in the Central Divisions as well. So this is a very interesting race out west too. And you look at the playoff form, you look at the way that things were playing out. There's not a lot of games left for Edmonton, Anaheim, or Vegas. All 3 of those have a path to the championship. We're giving you and a guest a chance to go away with Weezer on their Weezer The Gathering Tour. Get hooked up with flights, a 2-night hotel stay, and a pair of tickets to see Weezer, plus a meet and greet with the band and a signed set list thanks to Live Nation and Crush Music. And all you have to do to enter is listen to us on the Odyssey app. Download the free app, create your account, favorite our station, and listen for an hour to get your daily entry and come back each day for another chance to win. This is a national contest. Do you think we converted some people to the dark side of analytics, Frank, today?
I think so. And I mean, the analytics, yes, they do get on ungodly annoying. But it also is a very good litmus test to see whether or not are they just not getting lucky or are they just genuinely bad. And this offense has been proven statistically now that they are just really, really unlucky, and it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
So here's what my eye test of evaluation of talent has said about the Padres so far. I thought the first weekend they were terrible. I thought they weren't very good offensively. I think they were taking advantage. They took advantage of like mistakes. I think they were gifted some runs in that game against the Giants, and the same thing against the Tigers. And it wasn't very good. And guess what? Their expected numbers weren't very good either. But then as you look and you saw them hit on the road and they look like they're hitting a lot better, I just feel like the offense has been a lot better as of late. And when I watch this team play, I go like, oh man, the offense looks like it's really looking good. And then I look at the box score at the end of the day and I look at the averages. I'm like, this does not seem possible. And that's where the analytics step in to tell you the picture of what's actually going on. Now, Frank, I do think we got to make it clear. We are not people that only look at the expected numbers, right? I mean, there's still a lot of other stuff. You use the expected numbers in some of these analytics to kind of confirm or solidify what you're physically seeing with the eye test. And this is what teams do. This is what organizations do. You know, before they make a decision, because baseball is a lot of streaks. Like, it's so hard to evaluate baseball players for drafts and for college college scholarships and, well, NIL, whatever. Tryouts for travel ball teams, tryouts for high school teams, because you need a gigantic sample size to determine if a player is good or not. A 3-day tryout's not going to be good enough. And the same, that's just it's a game based on failure, but you want to know how things are working out. I mean, some, old guys are going to be like, well, did he hit the ball hard to get hits? Did he get knocks? I mean, is he hitting the gaps? I mean, there's a lot of things that go through baseball that is so hard to evaluate. And this is where these numbers step in to kind of fill the gap. And right now, the numbers say that the Padres are not doing as poor on offense as you think they are doing.
It gives you an explanation for what you can't explain by just looking at what's going on. Yes, hard hits should equal hits. If you can't explain why the guy is not getting the hits that he, quote unquote, deserves or earns, the analytics are there to explain to you what you can't explain with the eye test.
Correct. And that was the whole point of that conversation. Because people are like, expected numbers don't mean anything. You know what I don't want to hear expected numbers, Frank? The playoffs. I don't want to see any type of expected numbers. I don't care. Okay? It's the playoffs. You got to get hits. In the regular season, when you play 162 games and you go through streaks where the team's not playing well, I want to see the expected numbers because I want to see, are they actually that bad? Because you know what you can't do? You can't have knee-jerk reactions like a lot of fans do of this guy sucks, we must get rid of him after 13 games and an average being low. You make decisions like that and you're a scout, you're fired almost immediately because you would be a fool. If you're a general manager and you made decisions like that, you would be fired because you would probably rack up all this money trying to constantly replace people all the time. It would never work. Like, this is a patient game where you have to be patient about numbers. You can't evaluate things like football. It's not, and that's coming from a football coach. It's just it's like different sports. And when you have the worldview, like a football worldview with baseball, you're going to be like just cussing, bitching, and moaning about every single game.
Yeah, and as SD Flipper brings up, every defensive player has their own analytics, the little white card cheat sheets that you always see the outfielders pulling out of their back pocket to see where they're where they're supposed to be lining up when a certain hitter comes up. So that's something we haven't seen. And by the way, this is connection that I forgot to tell you about earlier. I saw cheat sheets. The afternoon show, Gwen and Chris will have Gavin Sheets on at 3:40 today, I believe it was.
Oh, nice.
I believe they said Scraby. Hold on, let me just confirm that.
Yeah, they're calling right now.
Yeah.
That's Is that what reminded you about it?
Yeah. No, I saw Sheets in the cheat sheets in the chat. Gavin Sheets will be on at 3:40 today.
Nice.
After a.
Did you see his spat he's had with Jackson Merrill on social media?
No, I saw Jackson Merrill giving him a lot of credit for that ridiculous catch he made in left field. I thought that was going over him for a double for sure.
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's let me see if I can Kevin Sheets was like, he's talking smack to Jackson on it. And he posted the what you have for me now, Jackson, and post a highlight of him running down the catch because he made the shirt, remember?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So he calls him out. It's hilarious. I love it.
So yes,
anyway.
that detour, I'll give it a
squirrel.
Gavin Sheets on at 3:40 today.
Right. Again, I'm not a super believer in like the advanced numbers. I don't think you can manage a baseball team with just computers. I also don't think you should be naive enough to be like, we've always done it this way, and I know more because I watch baseball and I coach high school baseball and I coach travel ball and I'm baseball guy. It's like, all right, dude, spit the dip out.
That's cool.
That's cool. But why not use the information that you're given to help make decisions? That's my thing on the end. It's funny. It's like, to me, you and I are somewhere in between with the analytics and the eye test, or like just watching, like scout style. I like it both. But a lot of people are very passionate about like, oh, I don't like scouts, or these advanced numbers are stupid. It's like, I've talked to a lot of former players, not all, but a lot of former players. Like, I wish I had some of this information when I was playing. I think it'd be very helpful.
Nate.
Yeah,
I saw that. I'd like I do prefer the eye test more, but if I see a guy hit 106 off the bat and a guy makes a diving stop at shortstop, yeah, that's unlucky. I don't need statistics for that.
But you can have the statistics prove your point on that.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. But I'm not afraid to go to the analytics to try to understand what the heck is going on.
I also don't think, and here's the other thing too with the analytics. Like, I think too many people. This is where I get off on the analytics stuff. I think too many people watch like Moneyball and all of a sudden think they're like some analytic expert. Like every team's, Billy Bean, or should I say Brad Pitt, sitting there going like, "Oh, we got to recreate the aggregate with, let's get 3 lousy players that all get on base, and if we just get a bunch of players for cheap that get on base, we're going to win a World Series." You're not going to do that. You need talent to win, as our guy yesterday said. You need talent to win. So it's a little mix of both, I think. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to John in Carlsbad. John, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Braden? Doing good, man. Couple of things. Well, there's so many things I want to talk about the Padres, but I'll limit it to 2. Number one is, that batter's eye on the automatic strike zone now, I feel like the high strike is gone. The higher strike at the belly button for some of these guys that are like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" tall. I mean, that pitch at the belly button should be a strike, and they've taken that away with this batter's eye now. That top line is like right at their belt buckle.
Did you notice that yesterday? It's funny you bring that. Did you notice that yesterday when Gavin Sheets stepped up to the box, John? It was like at his belt. Like the top of the zone was at his belt.
Yeah. So I feel like they need to expand that up about 3 more inches just to make it fair, because it's kind of squeezing the pitcher a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I also think on TV that's like not the like super accurate one either. I know on the ABS system it's a little bit different too, but I did notice that last night because we were talking about it while watching the game. It was like, oh man, that is it based on the batter's box, or is it based on the stance, should I say, or is it based on the height of the guy? It's a little bit different on there, but I don't mind. I mean, the strike zone is what the strike zone is. I think I've seen a lot of people, Frank, complain about like any part of the ball touching the zone, and they're upset about it. It's like, but that's the definition of a strike. When I did umpiring training that I had to do every year that I was an umpire, and they used to say like any seam touches the strike zone, it's a strike. Well, and Little League and high school and college baseball, the seams are bigger, so they're actually bigger than the ball. But like any portion of that baseball touches the zone, that is what the rule book is for a strike.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of people are like, I can't believe that's a strike. That should be a strike. It is. That's what a strike is.
Yes.
It just has to touch the zone at any point in time.
It's amazing. I saw somebody say it because they pointed out that like a pixel of the ball caught the strike zone, and they're like, can we agree that more than half the ball has to be in the strike zone before it's a strike? And somebody commented back and said, all of these years of wanting to get the call right and make a strike, now we're debating again what a strike is after we know what a strike is already.
Right.
It's like, what are we doing?
I don't know. We got to get to break. When we come back, we'll hear from Craig Stammen to finish the show. Final segment of the week on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. College sports just hit a breaking point, and now the government is stepping in. An executive order signed by President Donald Trump is trying to limit athletes to 5 years, cap transfers at 1, and even threaten schools with losing federal funding if they don't follow the rules. But here's the reality. This might not even hold up in court. Ever since the Supreme Court ruled against the NCAA in 2021, the athletes have been winning, and the NCAA has been losing control. So now we've got a system where players can transfer every year. Money is flying everywhere through NIL, and nobody actually agrees on the rules. And this order, it's trying to put structure back into chaos. But you can't fix a billion-dollar industry with just an executive order. If this isn't a solution, but it is a signal. Because the real question is this: are we building a real system for college sports, or just watching it spiral into professional free agency without rules? This week on our college sports update, we are discussing what happened last week as we've officially crossed into a new era of college athletics. And it's not just NIL or the transfer portal anymore. Now the federal government is stepping in. Current President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at reshaping college sports, and it's aggressive. Here's what it's trying to do: limit athletes to 5 total years of eligibility, allow only one transfer without penalty, push a national agent registry, protect funding for women's and Olympic sports, and most notably threaten loss of federal funding if schools don't comply. It's not a suggestion, it's some leverage by the president, but at the same time, we don't know if this thing will actually hold up in court. But Frank, based on everything that got put into place, I think this is a good starting point to help fix college athletics. They just need it in more of a law form.
Yeah, other than, the loss of federal funding if schools don't comply. Other than that, I agree with everything that's been proposed here. 5 years, absolutely agree with that. One penalty-free transfer. We've both said that's a great idea. The national agent registry, I think, is huge to protect players from these backstreet agents, the alleyway agents, I guess you could say. Protect funding for women in Olympic sports. Absolutely fantastic. So it's going in the right direction for sure.
I like all of it. And here's the other thing too, to counter you on the federal funding. You have to put in something extreme for schools that don't oblige. And so that's an extreme punishment. Unless you have another, what would your punishment be? You have to put something in. Otherwise the schools are like, all right, go ahead. What are you going to do? Oh, fine us? Nice. We'll just write you a check. It needs to be something obscure that no school wants to touch. So I don't really mind that potentially, but by this order. But the reality of the situation is this is not holding up the court of law because it's not a law. It's just an executive order, which can obviously have a lot of holes poked into it. Mm-hmm. And until the Congress gets together and passes an act that really gives the NCAA antitrust law exemption, you're going to be in the middle of this every single time in a courtroom.
Yeah, for sure. And now legal experts are already saying that this is likely going to get blown up in court. And the reason why is because ever since the NCAA versus Alston decision back in 2021 that you mentioned earlier, the NCAA has been fighting a losing battle trying to control athletic compensation and movement. Courts have consistently sided with the athletes. And now it's becoming a fight of, can the government succeed where the NCAA has failed, or is this just more noise in a system that is already spiraled out of control?
The only thing that really needs to be they need to have something that courts can go to and be like, these are the rules,
Yes.
these are what you have to follow. And until that gets put into place, it doesn't really matter what they come up with, because, they're not going to win any antitrust laws, because, sports and business and labor laws don't coexist, because you're trying to make leagues very competitive. That's why all these leagues have some form of antitrust law exemption to make the leagues competitive. But what does this really mean for college sports? Well, college sports right now is operating like free agency on steroids. Athletes are transferring every year. Schools essentially bidding for players via NIL collectives, eligibility rules being challenged constantly. This executive order is trying to bring structure back to chaos. And honestly, some of these ideas do make sense. A 5-year cap, it's very reasonable. Limiting transfers, stabilized rosters, agent regulation. That is long overdue in college athletics. But the problem is you can't fix $1 billion industry with a temporary executive order. That's like putting duct tape on a cracked dam. They need actual laws.
Yeah, exactly. And the 5-year cap really hasn't been an issue until COVID happened, and we had these eligibility issues from that. So that was never really an issue. The transfers is a product of NIL. That's where the big change has become. And the agent regulation is very much the same. It's a product of NIL. So these are all very, very recent problems. It's not like these have been systemic problems that have plagued the NCAA for years. These are all brand new issues that are cropping up because of NIL and because of the questionable loss of eligibility due to COVID.
And right now we're stuck kind of in the middle area. I mean, lawmakers are split on whether athletes. Get ready for the first City Connect Friday. Not the first Friday party at the park. I'll be out there later today. Gonna get out there early. Gates open today at 3:30 for that. They're gonna have a lot of cool extra stuff today because of it being the first City Connect. So that's gonna be great. Augie in the chat, in the YouTube chat, is it beer 30 yet? For some people, it might be. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. For those people, please drink responsibly. Just like everybody at Beer Fest, please drink responsibly. All right, we'll be out there later tonight. It'll be a fun time. I'm getting down there super early just in case, because beat the traffic. Going to be great. Oh, wow. Rod going to have the Charger whistle. I'll be out there. So it'll be a fun time. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Earlier today, Craig Stammen joined the morning show. The Manager Report with Craig Stammen is brought to you by SDCCU. It's not big bank banking. It's better. And there was some interesting stuff that he had to say about the Padres, obviously. But one of them, this is the second interview that he has done with Ben and Woods now on the Manager's Report presented by SDCCU. How have things been after a couple of weeks? Here's what Craig Stammen had to say.
Every day is a new challenge for me. And, I got a lot of great support system, great guys on the coaching staff that are supporting me and trying to do it all together. It's not just all on my shoulders. It's, the Padres all together handling this. But for me personally, it's been a lot of fun. It's been something new almost every day and a new challenge every day, which is a lot of fun. And I'm learning a lot and enjoying the experience. But, it's, the moves getting scrutinized and all that is just part of the job. So whether it's good, bad, ugly, that's just, what I have to bear. And it's, that's part of the job. So it's not that big a deal, but, obviously when things go well, you feel a lot better about it. And when things don't go so well, you always, second guess and try to figure out what may have been a better way to do it, and I think that's how we do with anything is, when things don't go well or even when they're going well, was there a better way to do it? And what is that better way? And then how can we, train for it and how can we do it better the next time? So, just constantly trying to stay in that process and not worry about the results as much.
That's very interesting, obviously. I mean, he's learning how to do this job on the fly. And honestly, I mean, through 13 games, he's made a couple of mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. it's a lot easier to scrutinize Frank when you have hindsight, right? I mean, that's why they have the saying hindsight's 20/20. But overall, I mean, he hasn't been terrible. I think he's made some good decisions. I like the way he uses everybody on the roster. Now, I was texting with some friends last night, and they didn't like the way that he managed the roster late in the game yesterday because of like the 9th inning and, using too many of your weapons, whatever. I like the way he had Bryce Johnson pinch run.
Yeah,
you
were trying
Miguel
to win the
Andujar,
game.
right?
Yeah, you were trying to win the game right then.
You can't sit there and say like, oh, it'd be nice to have this guy now in the 13th inning, whatever it may be. I mean, when you're playing the game, you're not expecting the game to go that many innings past. And you're trying to win the game right then, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the decisions in the now that you have to make. And when you start to look at it from what happens later, you're not evaluating properly. You have to evaluate in the sense of putting yourself in that moment, in that situation.
And again, for all the flack that Luis Campusano has gotten because he hasn't hit. That was a huge double last night.
Huge double last night.
Two out. You're about to lose the game. Runner on second. And Campusano comes through with a huge double. That was a very, very big moment for him this season.
It was great, too, because, he had to come in to hit, right? Because of the fact that he came in defensively first, but he had to hit because the game ended up going longer in the game. Or the game kept going longer because of extra innings, because Miguel Andujar pinched it for Freddie Fermin, or whoever it was. Is that who it was, right?
Yes, he came. Yeah,
Or was it Castellanos? No, he started. I thought it was Andujar. Didn't Andujar come in? Or is it somebody else? They pinch hit for Fermin. I was shocked that they did that because I thought for sure they'd let Fermin hit.
No, I think they may have pinched. Oh, I got to look now because that's gonna.
Who did Andujar pinch hit for? Did he pinch hit for somebody else? I thought that's what they did in that game.
No, Andujar pinch hit for Freddie Fermin. Bryce Johnson ran for Ty France.
Right, yeah, so I was right. Yeah, Fermin. So they had Andujar pinch hit for Fermin, which means Campusano now has to play defense because you need a catcher.
Yes,
and since the game went into extra innings, he had to hit now all of a sudden.
And then it's the easy move to just move Gavin Sheets out of the outfield, put Bryce Johnson in. So that was a logical for Bryce Johnson to run for Ty France.
Well, let's think about the moves he made last night, right? So Ty France, what inning was that? Is that the 9th, 8th?
That was the 9th inning.
He works a walk. And now I got to go to the...
I just had it up. Still no lineups, by the way.
They
Walker
could be
Buehler versus Sagano.
Maybe they're making a roster move today. Maybe Jason Adams back. Who knows? 9th inning. Ty France walked with 2 outs. Now the decision from, where one of my friends said was, why would you pinch run for France with 2 outs? But it's like he's the winning run.
Yeah,
like
that's the winning
you're
run
basically giving up that once you have 2 outs and a runner on base that you're not going to win. You're conceding the win to potentially do it in extra innings. I mean, I don't know why you would do that. So Ty France, running for Ty France with Bryce Johnson, I think is the right move, right?
Yes, I agreed with it at the time as well.
And then you have Freddie Fermin up. He's been struggling at the plate. You have Miguel Andujar off the bench. Miguel Andujar, overall, the team, even though he's not a starter, has the best batting average and OPS. I mean, he's been swinging a hot bat. I mean, he goes up there and rips a double. You might win with Bryce Johnson pinch running. He gets a base hit. Maybe you put runners on the corners, but Miguel Andujar is going to flip it back to the top of the lineup with Jake Cronenworth on deck. Jake Cronenworth already had a hit that day. So I thought the moves that he made were fine. So with those moves and going to extra innings, now you have Luis Campusano's got to come in for Freddie Fermin. You move Gavin Sheets to first base. Ty France is now out of the game. You put Bryce Johnson in left field. And Campusano is now catching. Mm-hmm. Fine. Okay, you go through the rest of the game. By the way, you're hoping to win the game in extras before it gets to Bryce Johnson potentially having to hit. Bryce Johnson can hit. He's not necessarily a power hitter, but the next move they made was they had Ramon Laureano pinch hit for Bryce Johnson. I like that move too, because if he gets a hit, great. Where you need it, right? Before Campusano comes up. Mm-hmm. And if he does, and if he doesn't, or they end up tying the game, going to another extra innings, you can have Ramon Laureano stay out there in the outfield. You don't lose anything defensively. I thought all the moves that Stammen made yesterday were fine.
And that was right after that scalding line out by Nick Castellanos as well. That was the first out of the inning. So that was a big moment, a big decision for him to make there as well.
Here's a couple other things that Bennett Woods asked Craig Stammen on the manager's report today, presented by SDCCU. Estrada didn't look very good yesterday. His velocity's been down. Any concern with Estrada's velocity dropping?
No, I mean, I think, anytime someone's velocity's down a little bit, you're just trying to find out why. And, he's been, saying he's healthy and feels healthy, and he's still rather effective, throwing 95 miles an hour. He's not that same, strikeout, how many other guys in a row he struck out, a couple seasons ago type of pitcher right now, but it's also April, and it's early April. And, I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes and where I've possibly been in the past. And I know there's been Aprils where my velocity was down when I was pitching. It didn't really matter because I didn't throw hard. So it wasn't, a huge concern for me because I was the same guy whether I was throwing 90 miles an hour or 93 miles an hour. But for him, the velocity is a big thing, and it makes that fastball, pretty electric. And he's still getting some outs with his fastball. And I think another part of his fastball not being as effective is he hasn't quite had the command of his off-speed pitches too. And so if we can get the command of his off-speed pitches back, I think his fastball is going to play more. And then as we get into the season, he builds up more arm strength, builds up some more physical strength. I think that velocity is going to come back. So while we're not worried, it's definitely something that, we've got to, as a coaching staff and as a pitching group, see what we can do to, help him get back to who he is.
Those are some of the things that Craig Stammen said on the manager's report that's presented by SDCCU. It's not big banking. It's better. Randy Vasquez was great yesterday.
Yes.
We haven't had time to talk about him today. I mean, he's been fantastic. He's been the best arm in your pitching staff this year. Best arm.
And that's say an 0.75 ERA, 0.75 somewhere in that range.
That's exactly what his ERA is. And out of the starting staff, if you just look at and just rank it by WAR through the, now almost 3 times through the rotation, he's your number one.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a 1.1 B WAR already. He's your number one, followed by Michael King, Nick Pivetta, gotten his numbers back up to a good spot, German Marquez, and then today's starter, Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler needs to bounce back big time. We talked about the Joe Musgrove situation that was reported earlier in the week. We discussed it earlier on today's show about he's going to be a lot more time than I think a lot of people initially expected going into the year. And he's doing this so he can be, once he's up, he's up. He's not having to take more time off. But with Griffin Canning potentially on the horizon as well, Matt Waldron is doing a really good job in his rehab assignment. I said it earlier in the week. He's got the same pressure on him tonight, Walker Buehler does, as German Marquez did earlier in the week, where he went out there and shined. Now it's even more pressure on Walker Buehler if he wants to stay on this team.
And I believe you said how good Matt Waldron's been. I think he's
allowed to run yet.
12 scoreless innings down in AAA El Paso, including 5, I believe it was last night. So very, very impressive out of Waldron so far.
We didn't get a lineup yet. We'll let you know on Gwen and Chris, who are coming up next. We will talk to you guys on Monday. I'll be out there at the party at the park. Should be a fun time tonight at Petco Park. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show. Static Number Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.